Part 20. Become a disciple of Taoist priest 4 Eyes. Author, Dong Ren. Chapter 192. Chapter 190. Lu Shiliang of the Southern Song Dynasty. After dealing with the Luo brothers, no one bothered Su Junming again in the next few days. On the contrary, in Anyuan town, because of the deaths of the Luo brothers, the major forces that were usually bullied by them emerged one after another. Everyone arranged seats and divided the fruits. Within a few days, the Luo family's land and property were completely divided. The wives and concubines of the two brothers of the Luo family also took a share of the property and went their separate ways. In the blink of an eye, the Luo family, once the most prominent family in Anyuan town, disappeared. After the prosperity faded, Su Junming's determination to practice Taoism was strengthened. The zombie scourge has been eliminated, and Anyuan town has returned to its former prosperity. Su Junming also said goodbye and left early one morning. Return to Yizhuang, open the door and walk in. Uncle Ju was playing Bajuanjin slowly in the yard. Hearing the movement, he stopped and turned around to see Su Junming walking in, with a look of joy on his face. Junming is back. Uncle, are you out of seclusion? Su Junming nodded and smiled. Well, I've been out for 2 days. Is the injury okay? It's okay. The conversation changed. I heard from Chiu Sheng and Wen Cai that you were asked by the people of Anyuan town to slay demons. How was it? Did it go well? A Western zombie caused trouble and I have eliminated it. Western zombie. Su Junming nodded. A Western missionary with all yin characters in his horoscope accidentally breathed in the earth's energy and became stiff. These foreign devils are not enough to harm the common people. Now they are also harming the spiritual world. They really deserve to be killed, Uncle Ju said angrily. Obviously he remembered the past in Jiquan town. A zombie disaster in the church caused him to lose the mass base he had accumulated over the years. Squeak. The door to the left wing opened, and a woman wearing a traditional Chinese light blue jacket and trousers with braids walked out holding a pile of clothes. Uncle Ju, I have washed these clothes for you, Taoist priest. Su Junming was also a little surprised. He didn't expect to meet Ren Tingting here. Do you know each other? Uncle Ju asked. More than half a month ago, Taoist priest Su rescued me from a mandrill at the Earth Temple 10 miles away. That's it. Uncle Ju glanced back and forth at the two of them. Ting Ting, please put the clothes in the room for me. Ren Ting Ting nodded, glanced at Su Junming, then turned and walked towards the main room. Uncle Ju pulled Su Junming, and the two of them left Yizhuang. Ever since Ren Fa disappeared, Ren Fa's eldest son Ren Xiang also disappeared. Ren Tingting was the only weak woman left in the direct line of the Ren family. She could not stop the many branches of the Ren family from competing for the family property. I saw that she was lonely and helpless, so I decided to temporarily he was kept in Yizhuang. However, Ren Tingting has extraordinary talent in cultivating Taoism and has a good personality. I plan to recommend her to your aunt and uncle's sect in a few days and serve as her successor. Su Junming is not surprised that Ren Tingting has outstanding talent. After all, the old man of the Ren family is a pure yin body with all yin characters. Ren Xiang's physical body is in his hands, and his qualifications are extraordinary. As a biological sister, Ren Tingting will not be too far behind. In addition, with such a disciple around, the concubine will not put all her thoughts on him since she is concerned about him. Uncle Master is indeed very calculating, Su Junming thought to himself. Uncle Ju stopped and turned his head. Junming, uncle, I want to ask you a favor. Well, uncle. I just came back from Anyuan town, and I'm quite tired from slaying demons. Let's go back and have a rest first. If there's anything else, let's talk about it tomorrow. After finishing speaking, Su Junming dodged and returned to his yard without waiting for Uncle Ju's reply. He's not stupid. Uncle Ju has been hiding from his concubine. Ren Tingting wants to go to her concubine's dojo and become her disciple. The journey is chaotic, so she naturally needs someone to escort her. No matter how you look at it, no one here is more suitable than him. The hero saves the beauty first, seeing each other off thousands of miles away, getting along day and night behind. When he thinks about what might happen in the middle, Su Junming gets nervous all over, fearing to avoid it. Hey, I haven't finished speaking yet, why are you running? Looking at Su Junming's disappearing figure, Uncle Ju said angrily, what's going on in this brat's mind that I can't tell? It's true. He has such a beautiful girl like Ting Ting, and he doesn't know how to take over quickly. If it were those two guys Chiu Sheng and Wen Cai, they would have thanked him profusely. Master. Seeing Su Junming come in, Shandaeking quickly came over to say hello. Senior brother, are you back? Su Junming nodded. Dao Qing, continue to urge them to practice. Yes, sir. After returning to the main room and sitting down cross-legged, Su Junming felt more and more that he should leave Yizhuang, a place of right and wrong, as soon as possible. Otherwise, if I were a moment and a half late, I might fall into the hole that my uncle had knitted. Dao Qing, come in. Shandaeking strode in holding a green wooden stick. Master, you called me. He took out a diagram of the innate Bagua formation from the bag of magic. The formation diagram that Ren Xiang used to seal the Ren family was cut into two halves with one knife, and half of it was used as a sacrifice to become the formation diagram in front of him. The remaining half was used to practice two magic subduing golden locks, one for the guardian general trained by Old Man Ren, and the other for the guardian general trained by Vampire Mat. Give this formation diagram to my uncle. When the Ren family fought, Uncle Ju was seriously injured. Therefore, he cannot take all the benefits he gets from Ren Xiang. Recalling that when he was in Jiquan town, Uncle Ju had always wanted to practice an innate Bagua array, and now he has fulfilled his wish. Yes. Shandaeking took it respectfully. Su Junming nodded with satisfaction. That's the only good thing about this monkey, he gets what he says. Compared with Mao Miao who is always asking questions, it is much less worrying. If he hadn't promised Uncle Ju to take care of the home, he would have wanted to take her back and raise her by himself. If my uncle asks, just say that I suddenly thought of something important and left before I could say goodbye. With such a loophole-filled excuse, Uncle Ju knew immediately that he was lying. But Su Junming was afraid that he would blame Ren Tingting's affairs on himself, so he couldn't care less. Master is leaving. Seeing the reluctance in his eyes, Su Junming nodded. Don't worry, I will come back often in the future. If you encounter a bottleneck in your practice, you can ask your uncle. Although Shandaeking was reluctant to give up, he still nodded slowly. Su Junming popped up a ray of spiritual light and disappeared into its eyebrows. This is the Golden Elixir chapter of the Aoki Shangyuan Gong. You can understand it on your own. Thank you, sir. Practice well and you and I will see each other again. After activating the Hu Tian Shen technique, Su Junming disappeared instantly. Looking at the empty room and hearing the lingering sounds, Shandaeking felt lost. Shenangjia, Haiming Valley. Su Junming was sitting cross-legged on the stone bed. Opposite him, also sitting cross-legged, was a young man wearing a black robe, with ape-like arms and waist, a face like a crown of jade, a handsome appearance, and a golden crown on his head. Between the two of them, the yin and yang mill rotated round and round. With each revolution, the yin energy in the golden crown young man's body weakened by 1 point, and the yang energy increased by 1 point. Like this, an hour later, Su Junming opened his eyes, and the yin and yang grind slowly sank into his body. Looking at the young man opposite who was getting stronger and stronger, he slowly let out a breath. After leaving Renjia town, he returned to Haiming Valley. Now, a year has passed. A year later, he finally succeeded in transforming this former bronze-armored corpse into his own divine protector. And he kept his golden elixir cultivation. With a thought in his heart, the protector general opposite him suddenly opened his eyes, and his eyes were long and bright, like lightning floating in the air, which lasted for a long time. At the same time, a blue puppet talisman flashed across his smooth forehead. A powerful aura emanated from his body, and a strong energy filled the entire quiet room. Wow! The sound like a rushing river burst out from its body. The tyrannical energy and blood soared into the sky from the Bawi point on the top of the head, floating 3 feet into the air before spreading out, like a golden red canopy, shining brightly and exuding powerful pure yang energy. Su Junming's face showed a look of relief. Finally, I have a trump card that is enough to save my life. As long as I don't seek death, my life will be safe. With a slap on the magic bag, a pair of black battle armor with a lion's mouth swallowing its shoulders and dragon patterns on its chest and abdomen appeared in his palm. And, a Fangtian painted halberd that is 1 foot long and as thick as an goose egg. With a wave of his hand, the black armor was instantly worn on the body of the protector general, and he was wrapped tightly from head to toe. The brilliance spreads on the armor, revealing a strong and solid meaning. Fang Tian's painted halberd was also caught in his hand. The tip of the 1 foot 9 inch spear shone with cold light and was extremely sharp. Black dragon armor. Coiling dragon halberd. It was originally a burial object for the bronze-armored corpse. After a year of adding materials and repeated sacrifices, it finally became a top-notch magic weapon with 12 treasure taboos. Looking at the heroic and powerful Dharma Protector General, Su Junming nodded with satisfaction. He took out Yimeng Huang Liang, and with a casual move, a colorful grain of yellow rice flew out, with a soul similar to that of the Dharma Protector floating inside. Of course, he is also the soul of the original Protector God himself. Yes, zombies have souls, and in the world of cultivation, all beings who can practice are spiritual beings. Just because zombies are filled with resentment and evil spirits. Unless they advance to the bronze-armored corpse, they will be confused and act only on instinct. There was a dream where the yellow beams and yin and yang were grinding away. It was not difficult to eliminate the evil spirit in the soul of the bronze-armored corpse. After this person regained consciousness, Su Junming also peeked into his memory. This man's name was Lu Shiliang, and he was a direct descendant of the Lu family, a military aristocrat in the late Southern Song dynasty. His father was the famous General Lu Wenda of the southern section. After his father died in Xiangyang, he surrendered to the Yuan dynasty with his uncle Lu Wenhuan, and was named Marshal of Marching Thousand Households, Hezhu and other places. He died young and was buried in Niudishan. This man absorbed the yin qi for 600 years in the tomb, and finally became a bronze-armored corpse with the 3rd level of corpse elixir. In addition to the memory about the origin of his identity, Su Junming also learned many military strategies and a set of true martial arts from Lu Shiliang's memory. Tiangang 9 Revolutions. It contains a set of techniques, a set of dragon coiling halberd techniques, and a set of magical powers called the 9 transformations of Tiangang. Lu Shiliang was extremely talented and had practiced this set of exercises to the 2nd level at the age of 30. However, he was eager for success and forced himself to survive the catastrophe. In the end, he injured his Danshan. Although he saved his life, his cultivation turned into running water, and he finally died of depression. End. After reading Lu Shiliang's memory, Su Junming sighed. He didn't know how to evaluate whether this person was loyal or traitorous. In my memory, Lu Shiliang also followed his father to bravely fight against the Yuan army. The blood stained his robes and he almost died several times. But after surrendering, he also followed his uncle Lu Wenhuan in the southern Song dynasty, attacking cities and villages and killing countless people. That's all. Now that I have your physical body, I will send you to reincarnation. As for your merits and demerits, I will leave it to hell to judge. For the time being, put Lu Shiliang's soul into Yimeng Huang Liang, and wait until there are more ghost souls, and then send them to reincarnation together. Become a disciple of Taoist priest 4 Eyes. Author, Dong Ren. Chapter 193. Chapter 191, Dark Valley Cave. He took out a blank jade slip from the magic bag and recorded the contents of the 9 transformations of Tiangang into it. The profoundness of this true martial arts teaching is better than the Mission 7 Gates Taoism he learned. In particular, the 9 transformations of Tiangang are even more magical and unparalleled. However, Su Junming does not intend to change the foundation. From now on, I will use this 9 transformations of Tiangang to train this Dharma Protector General. It just so happens that he also has the foundation of this Dharma. As for the name, Lu Shiliang is not suitable. After pondering for a moment, he said, "Since I have taken your body, my surname will not change. As for my name, it will be called Pen." No. After thinking about it, I couldn't think of anything suitable. Forget it, think about it later. Su Junming stretched out and jumped off the cloud bed. Now he has realized the puppet talisman and the blue fundamental talisman is perfect, and he can use it for 8 purposes. Even if he leaves, he can still control Lu Pan's cultivation while he is distracted. Moreover, the fundamental method of martial arts is to train the physical body of qi, blood, and there is no need to understand the way of heaven like Taoism and Suanmen. It only needs to continuously strengthen the physical body. It is quite like the achieving Tao through strength in the ancient novels he read in his previous life. However, anything that seems simple is actually the most difficult. The same goes for martial arts. You practice Sanjiu in the winter and Sanfu in the summer. You practice hard every day to polish your body. Although it does not require great qualifications and does not depend on your understanding, you must have strong perseverance far beyond your peers. Perseverance is hard to measure, but if you think about achieving success in martial arts, it should at least be like Kai and Xiao Li in Naruto. After leaving the training room, he put the jade slips that stored the 9 transformations of Tiangang in the library. In the past year, in addition to training the Dharma Protector God General, he spent most of the rest of the time studying the classics inside. Now, I've basically finished reading it. However, the inner truth cannot be fully comprehended. There is something new to gain every time you watch it. After bypassing the lotus pond and exiting the front cave, the huge black hell valley appeared in front of us. Ever since he activated the formation and gathered the Xianchuang Yin Sha, the life in the valley became vigorous again. In particular, the natural formation of Himing Valley can gather moonlight, which accelerates the growth of various vegetation. In more than 4 years, the originally bare valley is now full of green. Su Junming took a step forward, and Hu Tianshen's magic was activated. He appeared on a 100-foot-high cliff, stepped on a raised rock, and surveyed the entire Himing Valley. A large lake covering an area of 100 acres is the first thing that comes into view. In the sparkling lake, a huge black shadow was vaguely visible. 10 feet above the cliff next to the lake, a boulder the size of an acre of land protruded. On the boulder grew an old apricot tree more than 3 feet tall, with a fluffy crown and twisted stems and branches. Each one is as big as a child's fist, and the green apricots are hanging all over the branches, swaying in the wind, which is very pleasant. Under Laoxing, a black cat that was over 10 feet long was prostrate. Next to it, there was a small green snake about 7 feet tall with 2 wings on its back. Su Junming shook his head. He also didn't know how Mao Miao Miao, a black cat, got together with the Xianqing spirit snake cub, and the female snake just let it go. There is a huge cave at the bottom of the cliff valley in the south of the Great Lake. A giant blue toad is lying on the rock at the entrance of the cave, lazily basking in the sun. 200 feet away to the right of the giant clam, there is a dry apricot forest covering an area of about 30 acres. The apricot forest faintly reflects blue light. Below the apricot forest, more than 30 bunches of golden grass grow against the sun. The withered woods where the Xianqing spirit snake, thunder frog, and cold flame bug are located are separated from Su Junming's mansion, each occupying one place. In fact, with his current understanding of the King Muhuishan formation and the protection of the divine generals, whether it is a giant clam, a dark green spirit snake, or a swarm of cold flame bugs, he can suppress them all if they are picked out alone. But if any two guys get together, he will be the unlucky one. Although the last time I came here, the Xianqing spirit snake had a fight with the thunder toad, and it seemed a little difficult to deal with. But who knows what they will choose when their lips are dead and their teeth are cold. As an ancient relic, although it is difficult to transform, their wisdom is not low. The remaining cold flame bugs are not easy to deal with. Not to mention there are so many of them, there is also a mid-stage golden elixir female bug among them. Therefore, although Su Junming's strength has greatly increased and he has mastered the King Muhuishan formation, if he wants to completely take over the Black Ming Valley for his own use, he still needs to wait until he has advanced to the realm of seeing the realm, which is the golden pill. Thinking of the golden elixir, Su Junming had a headache. Now he finally understands what it means to be at the end of heaven's path and have thin spiritual energy. After taking 2 Qingyang pills from Ren Xiang, the Danshan grew to 11 acres. Over the past year, I never relaxed my practice, but the growth of the Danshan was not that fast, but not much faster. This made him, who was used to the rapid growth of his cultivation, make up his mind to start practicing alchemy. Otherwise, if you only rely on your own resources to buy Biang pill, the cost will be too high. If you practice it yourself, you can at least save more than half of the cost. Moreover, in addition to Lupan, the Golden Core Dharma Protector General, he also has 5 innate level Dharma Protector Generals from the Wu family, 2 from the Ren family, and 2 from the Anyuan Town Church. That's right, Su Junming finally entered the bottomless pit of women's clothing bosses. Others are just clothes, he is everything but his soul, inside and out. The reason for this is also considering that women, as a vulnerable group, can usually relax the vigilance of others. And Vivian, as a vampire, is a beautiful woman. In many scenarios, it can exert several times its own strength, or even completely reverse the situation. These 9 guardian generals also need elixirs to improve their cultivation. It just so happened that the collection of books left by Chen Lin contained many alchemy secrets. There was also an alchemy room in the back cave, and there was also an alchemy furnace at the level of a top-grade magic weapon. Naturally, such a good resource could not be wasted. With the help of the bronze mirror, Su Junming's alchemy progress was rapid, and he refined Huanjidan, and the success rate of the elixir exceeded 70%. It's just that Biang pill is limited to materials and has never been refined. As for the 12 Taoist methods, after joining the alchemy Tao, he gave up the Aoki Tao. The top-quality green wood staff in his hand was made into a top-quality magic weapon through sacrifice, but he was not ready to use it himself. Chirp! A high-pitched cry with a hint of childishness resounded throughout the valley. High in the sky, a green shadow came to Su Junming's head like lightning. Spreading his wings, he circled deftly and then slowed down instantly. A 2-foot-long bird with a green feather crest on its head and a green tail feather, which looked somewhat similar to a peacock, landed lightly on Su Junming's left shoulder. The big bird arched Su Junming's chin affectionately and chirped a few times. He reached out and touched its head, and the big bird showed enjoyment on its face. After returning to Haiming Valley half a year ago, the bluebird eggs hatched. Because Su Junming has always used his own magic power to nourish him, the little guy has been extremely dependent on him since he was born. Much more loyal than Mao Meow Meow. He took out a yellow bud pill from the bag and fed it to the bluebird. Patted it on the head. Go and play. After the bluebird rubbed his face, it let out a long cry, flapped its wings, rose into the sky, and was gone in an instant. After staring for a while, Su Junming took a step forward and used the Huishan divine movement to reach the top of the cliff. He opened up 16 acres of medicinal fields here, and raised a nest of Ganoderma lucidum obtained from the snake demon cave in Goddess Peak here. In addition to Ganoderma lucidum, there are also purple ginseng, cave grass, green lingzi, red fruit, etc., totaling 323 types of elixirs. The reason why the varieties are so rich and most of them are very old is of course the contribution of Wu family medicine garden. Although there are not many precious ones, and some of them were moved away when the Wu family split up. But the accumulation over 100 years is extraordinary, saving Su Junming countless efforts in collection and training. In the medicine garden, an old man wearing a raincoat and carrying a hoe was working under the sun. Catching insects, spraying water, busy all the time. Su Junming came over without raising his head. This old man is the Dharma protector general he trained, and he is currently practicing in seclusion in Zhenengjia. The control distance of the puppet talisman cannot exceed 200 miles, so the guardian general cannot drive away the corpse and can only retreat here together. However, apart from being distracted by manipulation and training, I spent the extra time tending the medicine garden. In addition to this medicine garden, he also opened up 24 acres of terraced rice fields on another nearby peak, planting yellow rice obtained from the Wu family. However, compared to the middle-grade yellow rice from Nanzang Cave in Mission, the ones from Wu's family are only low-grade. But Dongzhen, a low-grade person, is also a spiritual seed. A bowl of yellow rice is more effective than a grain of yellow bud pill. And unlike the latter, which is troubled by erysipelas, it is an excellent product for training younger disciples. Under the water of spiritual energy, the yellow rice and rice are growing well. The green stems and branches and leaves are greedily sucking the morning sun and rain and dew, and they are full of vitality. Like the medicine garden, the grain garden is also guarded by a guardian deity. After checking it and seeing nothing abnormal, Su Junming nodded with satisfaction. Past Lingtian is the tea garden. However, there are no magical seeds in the Wu family tea garden, and there are 3,600-year-old roots. Su Junming transplanted it to his own tea garden and cultivated it. In the medicine garden, tea garden, and grain garden, the land is sprinkled with the three-color spiritual soil he got from Anyuan town. This kind of top-quality spiritual soil directly turns these lands into spiritual fields, saving decades of hard work of gathering spiritual energy and pouring spiritual water. Under the King Muhuishan formation, in addition to the Haiming Valley in the middle, there are more than a dozen surrounding mountains. Su Junming's medicine garden, grain garden, and tea garden are located on these hills. Originally, he wanted to open up all these in the valley, but before he conquered the Xianqing spirit snake, thunder frog, and cold flame bug, Haiming Valley could only hope. Fortunately, these hills can be considered a good place if they are reclaimed and put up with spirit gathering arrays. It's a pity that spiritual water is hard to find, otherwise my medicine garden, grain garden, and tea garden could go further. Although the three-color spiritual soil is good, it is somewhat lacking and scattered. It only turns the medicine garden, grain garden, and tea garden into a low-grade spiritual field. And the total is less than 50 acres. Compared with the 300 acres of top-grade spiritual fields of Mission Nanzang, it is far behind. But Mission Nanzang has accumulated thousands of years of accumulation. He can have 48 acres of spiritual land in just a few years, which is already very good. You are listening to Novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. Please subscribe to receive new novels. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. Become a disciple of Taoist priest 4 Eyes. Author, Dong Ren. Chapter 194. Chapter 192, Weapon Tribulation. Back in the cave, Su Junming pushed open the door of the alchemy room. A middle-aged man wearing a Taoist robe, a Taoist bun, and 3 strands of long beard on his chin, who looked like an immortal, was sitting cross-legged on a futon. A few feet away opposite him, the fire was raging, burning the whole room. Amid the billowing flames, a black alchemy furnace stood majestically. The medicinal gas in the alchemy furnace is billowing, and it's obviously a critical moment. Su Junming stood beside him and did not disturb him. The middle-aged man closed his eyes and ignored him. About a quarter of an hour later, a trace of white air, as blue as a musk deer, emerged from the top of the alchemy cauldron. The white air floats and condenses into an umbrella cover, with the alchemy furnace underneath, like a cloud of clouds. At the moment when the white versicolor took shape, the middle-aged man in Taoist robes opened his eyes instantly. The slender fingerprints flew, and after a moment, he shot in the air. The alchemy furnace roared, and the closed faucets on both sides of the alchemy furnace seemed to come to life. The dragon's mouth opened, and pills the size of soybeans flew out like lightning. In an instant, the alchemy room was filled with a strong fragrance of alchemy. The middle-aged man pointed his fingers, and the yellow pill flew into his hand. "How?" Su Junming asked. 72 yellow bud pills, no useless pills." The middle-aged man spoke. Su Junming nodded with satisfaction. "It seems that refining Huanjidan is no longer difficult for us." The middle-aged man nodded. "It's a pity that we don't have the Millennium Spirit Fruit, otherwise we could try to refine the White Yang Pill. With our current level of alchemy, we can achieve at least a 50% success rate. Thousand-year-old spiritual fruits are under the control of the major sects and will not leak out at all. Unless there is a great opportunity to obtain Dongsuan-level spiritual roots, they cannot be cultivated." After finishing speaking, Su Junming sighed. The major sects in the spiritual world have stood firm for thousands of years. In addition to the elders with high cultivation level and complete inheritance, another very important point is the rich resources, such as spiritual roots. Almost all Dongxian level spiritual roots are in the hands of various major sects, and then they refine Biang pills and exchange the high-priced Biang pills for the spiritual objects in the hands of casual cultivators. This kind of disguised exploitation is also one of the reasons why the major factions continue to thrive. Of course, there are also examples of casual cultivators obtaining Dongsuan-level spiritual roots, but they have never seen the spiritual fruits in their hands reach the market. The reason is not difficult to guess. If that doesn't work, let's find an opportunity to exchange for a 1,000-year-old red fruit from Mission. The middle-aged man nodded in agreement. Su Junming waved his hand, and a bronze lotus lamp emerged from the burning fire. After silently sensing it, he put it back. The flame essence accumulated in the Xiang lamp is not enough to practice the 12 treasure taboos. When the fire is up, take it out. No. Seeing him nod, Su Junming exited the alchemy room. Back in the training room, Lu Pan was still carrying qi and blood and practicing the 9 transformations of Tiangang. After taking a look, he sat down on the side. "Take out a dream of yellow beams, yin and yang mills and Vajra relics." The Vajra relics that once shone brightly with the Buddha's light have now turned into pale gold, and their aura has dropped a lot. As soon as the magic power is activated, the yin and yang mill spins, and the Buddha power in the relics differentiates into spiritual energy, which is absorbed by the mill. The Buddhist power contained in it turned into pure soul power, that is, spiritual power, and was absorbed by Yimen Huangliang. The big mill keeps spinning, and I don't know how long it has passed. Click. A crack appeared on the relic. Soon there were more and more cracks, and the Vajra relic, which could be used to worship a spiritual weapon, collapsed instantly. An incomparably thick Buddha power poured into the great mill, and was finally destroyed into pure spiritual energy and soul power. Damo absorbed this spiritual energy, and the light shone brightly. Su Junming felt it and nodded with satisfaction. He stretched out his hand and pointed at the dreamy yellow beam, and 11 circles of light appeared in a row, absorbing the rich spiritual power in the Vajra relic. What was once a middle-grade magic weapon has now been upgraded to a top-grade magic weapon with an 11th level of treasure. Putting away the yin and yang mill for the time being, Su Junming came to the middle cave and pushed open the first stone room on the left. On the stone bed inside, there was a boy of about 6 or 7 years old wearing a Taoist robe and a Taoist bun sitting cross-legged. The boy looked particularly cute with a gold collar hanging around his neck. When Su Junming came in, the boy also opened his eyes. There was no innocence in his eyes, but he looked extremely mature. Su Junming, an adult, still felt a little uncomfortable looking at this little zombie-like body of a Dharma protector who was practicing rituals. However, this little zombie's innate yin and yang body has really good qualifications, and he is also born with the magical power of yin and yang scissors. It is even more precious than Lupin, a golden elixir level Dharma protector general. In comparison, appearance is not that important. I have completely transformed the golden elixir relic. How about you? Renwuji patted the collar around his neck, and a ball of yin and yang energy the size of a football appeared in front of Su Junming. This ball of yin and yang energy was refined by the Xianchuang Yin Sha left behind by Chen Lin. Because Renwuji has innate yin and yang energy in his body, he can transform acquired pure yin and pure yang just like the yin and yang great Mo. Su Junming was distracted and manipulated, and it took him a year to convert the Dongsuan level Xianchuang Yin Sha into the Dongsuan level acquired yin and yang qi. With a finger, the yin and yang mill flew out from Su Junming's danshan. Renwuji waved his small hand, and the Dongsuan level acquired yin and yang energy flew into Damo. The yin and yang trembled, and the surging yin and yang spiritual light rose into the sky. Su Junming instantly understood that this treasure had accumulated enough information to overcome the tribulation. The yin and yang discs of the big mill rotated rapidly, flying out of the cave with a cluster of spiritual light, shining directly into the 9 heavens. Su Junming, Renwuji, and Lupin escaped from the cave at the same time and came to the top of the cliff. The yin and yang mill rotated with a roar, and the millstone, which was originally only about 2 feet long, grew larger and larger. 3 feet, 7 feet, 1 foot, 3 feet. In just a moment, the diameter of the yin-yang mill reached 6 feet. The mighty yin and yang spiritual light enveloped the entire black underworld valley. Clouds gathered in the sky, and wind and thunder gathered. Such a big movement naturally alarmed the Kongqing spirit snake, thunder toad, and cold flame stink bug in the black underworld valley. Mao Meow Meow also raised his head. Looking at the giant millstone with radiant light in the sky, there was a trace of envy in his eyes. Subconsciously, he summoned the mysterious yin thorn. The material of this natal magical weapon was Dongxian grade, and it had the possibility of becoming a spiritual weapon. However, it was afraid that it would not accumulate enough and the calamity thunder would damage the very foundation of its treasure, so it never dared to let it go through the calamity. Meow, if the yin-yang great mill can overcome the tribulation and become a spiritual weapon, I have no choice but to beg that guy. Sister Cat, what is that? A childish voice came from the body of Xiao Kong Qingling snake next to him. The magic weapon of a big bad guy. What is the magic weapon? Looking at her cute little eyes, Mao Meow Meow clicked her mouth. The magic weapon is the weapon of our practitioners. You will know it in the future. The little snake nodded his head in confusion. Boom. After brewing for about a quarter of an hour, the first thunderbolt struck. The 1-foot-long thunder struck down instantly like a giant sword. The tyrannical power of thunder completely enveloped the yin-yang millstone. The millstone keeps spinning, and the innate yin and yang energy in the middle emits a powerful swallowing power. Swallowed all the thunder. Boom. The second thunderbolt struck down. This time the thunder turned into 2 feet. The mighty thunder, like the Milky Way pouring down, instantly submerged the yin and yang millstones. Although the tribulation thunder is strong, the yin-yang millstone was made stronger by Su Junming's sacrifice. This is the best material of Dongzhen, coupled with the innate yin and yang energy, it is completely possible to overcome the disaster long ago. But Su Junming was afraid that the yin and yang millstone would be damaged, so he added all the spiritual energy of a six-turn relic and the Xianshuangyin evil accumulated in the Black Ming Valley for thousands of years. When it comes to the background, ordinary spiritual weapons are not as strong as the yin and yang Great Tribulation. Although the Second Tribulation thunder is powerful, the spiritual light of yin yang Great Mo is stable, so it is obviously not difficult to deal with it. Call. A strong wind blew like a roaring bull, and the clouds of calamity descended even lower. A thunder eye about 10 feet thick appeared in the dark clouds of calamity. Under the concerned gazes of Su Junming and others, 3-foot-thick thunderbolts gathered together and took shape. Sudden, dazzling blue-white light filled the sky. There was silence between heaven and earth. Then there was a roar like rolling thunder. A surging burst of energy swept out like a sea wave. In the endless thunder package, a giant black and white millstone that expanded to a diameter of 10 feet could be vaguely seen, slowly rotating. At this moment, 3 demonic energies rushed straight towards the millstone in mid-air. The devil is bold. Su Junming roared angrily, and his body grew in the wind, turning into a giant body nearly 2 feet tall. He slashed with the long sword in his hand, and the magnificent sword energy cut off the black demonic energy, and he flew down. Block in front of the empty green spirit snake. Lu Pan took a step forward, and the tyrannical energy and blood were like smoke. The coiling dragon halberd with unparalleled power dispersed the blue-white demonic energy with a roar, and fell in front of the giant frog. Renwuji, 5-foot-long black and white scissors flew up from his eyes. With a click sound, he cut off the blue demonic energy and flew down to the withered apricot forest. As soon as Su Junming raised his hand, the wind and clouds gathered in the sky, and the power of the King Muhuishan formation was blessed. The auras of the 3 of them suddenly surged. Looking at the 10-foot-long double-winged giant snake in front of him, Su Junming said coldly, "We all live next to each other, and we can barely be considered neighbors. I don't want to embarrass you, but if you want to take the opportunity to seize my spiritual weapon, you should ask me about the knife in my palm first." The Xianqing spirit snake's vertical pupils flashed with human brilliance. Although she has not yet transformed into a human due to her own qualifications, her wisdom is no worse than that of others. "Are you confident that you can stop the 3 of us?" A young female voice spoke. "You can try." A trace of anger flashed in the Xianqing spirit snake's vertical pupils. This person only possesses the golden elixir's combat power due to his secret method, and even so, it is still inferior to it. Under such circumstances, how dare you be so arrogant without using gentle words? I was trying to teach him a lesson. Let me remind you, even if I am not your opponent now, there is no problem in escaping. With my qualifications and understanding, I will definitely advance to the golden elixir in the future. If we form a cause and effect and chase you to the ends of the earth in the future, I will also take your mother and son. Life. Xianqing spirit snake's pupils shrank. The raised snake tail slowly lowered. Become a disciple of Taoist priest Four Eyes. Author, Dong Ren. Chapter 195. Chapter 193, Kill the Insect Mother. The Xianqing spirit snake thinks that its flight speed is amazing, but compared to the opponent's teleportation method, it is still far behind. If they really fight, they will definitely not be able to keep each other. As for strength, the last time I saw this person, he could only run away. But now, with a golden elixir level magic power, he has the ability to fight it. In just 4 years, it can be said to be a huge difference. If there are another 4 or 5 years, I'm afraid it will reach a higher level. But in 4 or 5 years, her strength will not change much in this era of lawlessness in the world. Now that cause and effect are connected, I am afraid that in the future, as the other party said, the lives of his mother and son will be in danger. After thinking clearly about the stakes, I don't have to embarrass you. But from now on, you are not allowed to embarrass my mother and son, otherwise I will risk my life and kill you. Make a deal. Boom. An explosion sounded from the southeast. Su Junming's face turned cold. There are really some people who are not afraid of death. With one step, he disappeared instantly. Looking at the countless cold flame bugs flying towards them, Su Junming slashed out with his sword. The surging sword energy, combined with yin-yang boy's scissors, instantly knocked back the entire insect swarm. Immediately afterwards, surging energy and blood flew in, and the power surged like a mountain, heading straight towards the 3-foot-long, half-human, half-insect, blue figure in the insect swarm. Call. The yin fire surged, and when it collided with qi, blood, sword qi, and yin and yang scissors, it exploded like fireworks. Su Junming, Renwuji, and Lu Pan stood side by side. How? The toad surrendered, Lu Pangzi said with words like gold. So you are not willing to accept that this insect is the only one left? Renwuji nodded and spoke. I told you, but my mind is not clear. Then let's do it together. Su Junming shouted lowly, and the three of them flew up. Tens of thousands of cold flame bugs formed a combined force under the command of the insect mother, and the powerful yin fire swept through the world like a raging wave. With the blessing of the Aoki Kaishin formation, the strength of the three of them has improved a lot. Su Junming's sword light, Renwuji's yin-yang scissors, Lu Pan's coiling dragon halberd, the 5-foot-long qi force grew to 8 feet. Attack a little first to break its combined force. After Renwuji and Lu Pan nodded, the three of them worked together. The sword light and the giant scissors merged with the coiling dragon halberd. With a bang, they hit the southeast of the insect swarm. The light shone, and in an instant, dozens of cold flame bugs were shaken out of the insect swarm. Su Junming pointed his finger, and the yellow rice that had been ready to go coiled up like lightning and passed through the cold flame bug. In an instant, the souls of these cold flame bugs were detained, leaving only their corpses falling down. Junior, kill my child, you are seeking death. A vicious female voice sounded in the ears of the three of them. We are not the ones seeking death. Come on. Daoguang, yin-yang shears, and coiling dragon halberd merged and fought with the cold flame bug under the control of the insect mother. The three of them alone cannot defeat tens of thousands of cold flame bugs and insect mothers, but together, with the blessing of the King Muhuishan formation, they can overwhelm them. Dozens, or hundreds, of cold flame bugs were continuously shaken out of the insect swarm by the combined efforts of the three of them. Every time there was such a lonely cold flame bug, Su Junming would force Yimen Huangliang to collect his soul. Slowly, the number of the insect swarm became less and less, and its power became weaker and weaker. More and more cold flame bugs were shaken out of the insect swarm by the three people's combined efforts. Stop, I admit defeat. There was a hint of anxiety in the woman's tone. Boom. The sword energy, yin and yang scissors and coiling dragon halberd showed no intention of stopping. In a dream, yellow beams of lightning arrived, and the souls of 200 to 300 cold flame bugs were taken away. Damn it, I said stop. The magnificent sword energy flew again. This time more cold flame bugs were killed. Ah! Damn Junior, I will fight you till death. The female insect was absolutely furious. Su Junming smiled coldly. We've already started fighting now, how can we stop? As expected, the scabies have no brains. Thunder Toad looked at the battle ahead, his bulging eyes flashing with light. He examined it for a moment, then turned his gaze to his deadly enemy with wings on his back 100 feet away. Mrs. Leng is no match for this boy. Thunder Frog's divine consciousness transmitted the message. A cold voice came. Snake Lady, although we are not against Mrs. Leng, if we watch this kid kill her, we will only become alone here in the future. When this kid gets stronger, I'm afraid it will be our turn to be unlucky. You want to save it? Leha affirmed, the three of us are all monsters, and we are born with a certain degree of passion. And, are you willing to let go of this black underworld valley? Kongqing Spirit Snake was naturally reluctant to part with it. As an ancient relic, although their talents are much stronger than those of ordinary monsters, their transformation is more difficult, especially requiring spiritual energy. This black underworld valley gathers the spiritual energy of the Shenangjia mountains and rivers, and has a natural formation to gather the moonlight. It can be said to be a top-notch blessed place for cultivating Taoism. I can't bear to part with it either, Lei Ha continued. However, that kid is getting stronger and stronger. It's hard to say what will happen to him in more than 10 years. So we have to keep Mrs. Leng and combine our efforts to resist this kid. Threats. Even if we can't defeat him in the future, having more helpers will give us more hope of escaping. Kongqing Spirit Snake pondered for a moment. Then take action. You block the boy, and I'll block the guy with the halberd, Lei Ha said. Good. The wings of the Kongqing Spirit Snake shook, and a huge cyan wind blade flew out, hitting Yin Yang Shear directly. Countless electric arcs jumped on the bumps on Lei Ha's back, forming a thunderbolt that blocked Lu Pan's coiling dragon halberd. Ha, Snake Lady, General Clam, you're well on your way, let's kill this kid together. Following the excited voice, the overwhelming blue yin fire burned straight towards Su Junming like a rolling tide. Mrs. Leng, stop it. Lengpo, stop. Thunder Toad and Kongqing Spirit Snake quickly stopped. They only intended to prevent the two sides from fighting, but did not intend to kill anyone. However, the Jindan level method is so powerful that it cannot be stopped so easily. Looking at the flying flames, Su Junming took a deep breath. Raise your right hand and point toward the top of your head. The 10-foot-long yin-yang millstone fell down with a crash, and the mighty yin-yang spiritual light swept through the yin fire, instantly swallowing it all like a long neck sucking water. The big mill fell, 10 feet wide and 5 feet high, like a giant meteorite falling from the sky. It exploded with astonishing energy and directly smashed the insect swarm away with a bang. Looking at the half-human, half-insect figure in the middle of the insect swarm, covered in yin fire, Su Junming gave a low shout and used all his strength to activate the divine fighting art. With the help of the formation, his 3-foot-long body doubled in size. He endured the force of heaven and earth tearing his body apart, and slashed with the long knife in his hand. The dazzling sword light was like thunder exploding, and it slashed through the half-insect, half-human figure like lightning, leaving a deep knife mark on the cliff 100 feet away. The insect mother's expression instantly became dull, and the yin fire around her body also stopped. Laugh. Green blood splashed out, and the body of the insect mother, half insect, half human, with 2 tentacles on her forehead, slowly split open. With the help of Yin Yang Damo, Su Junming's extreme sword cut just now had cut it in half. Without the command of the insect mother, the remaining cold flame insect swarm instantly disintegrated. Su Junming's body shrank instantly like a deflated rubber ball, his body swayed and he almost fell down. However, the aura on his body is like that of a general who has survived 100 battles, extremely fierce. His eyes slowly swept over Xianqing Spirit Snake and Thunder Toad. Are you two going to stand up for this cold flame bug mother? We just think it's better to dissolve enemies than to end them. We want to stop the fight between you two, but we have no intention of targeting you. Lei Ha shook his head quickly. His eyes were fixed on the young Taoist who seemed to have reached his limit. But he couldn't forget the domineering sword strike just now that was like thunder coming to the world. Even with its strength, it would be seriously injured if it took the knife forcefully. In an instant, the threat of this young Taoist rose to another level in its mind. The sound transmission from Kongqing Ling Snake's divine consciousness. We have no intention of being your enemy, we just want to stop you. As he spoke, the snake slowly retreated. The mother cold flame bug is dead, so rescue is no longer necessary. As for revenge, everyone's relationship is not that close yet. Lei Ha stared at the young Taoist with a pale face and weak breath, his eyes flickering. With its cultivation level, it can naturally sense that whether it is the boy or the black armor general, the soul fluctuations are the same. Obviously, although they appear to be three people, they are actually the puppets of the young Taoist. If he could take this opportunity to kill this person, the threat would no longer exist. Moreover, this person had just used a unique move with explosive potential to kill the mother of cold flame bugs, and now it was the time when his strength was low. General Clam, don't be impulsive. This young Taoist is proficient in the art of Hu Tian. Unless we can trap him first, we won't be able to kill him at all. Hearing Snake Lady's words, Lei Ha's eyes narrowed. The art of pot heaven? Is this true? If it weren't for this, he would have become my favorite when he first came to the Black Ming Valley. Snake Lady paused. If you don't believe it, you can try it. But Mrs. Leng's end is imminent. You'd better think twice before you act. The thoughts that were stirring in Lei Ha's heart slowly subsided. We have been neighbors for many years and know each other well. This Snake Lady is very powerful and has an arrogant temperament, and she never disdains lying. That's it? Lei Ha took a step forward and retreated into the distance. Su Junming took back his hand on the statue of Emperor Guan. Lu Pan rushed over and helped his body. Let's go back. Lu Pan nodded and flew towards the cave with Su Junming. Ren Wuji pointed at the yin-yang great mill, and the body of the cold flame bug mother, as well as the other cold flame bugs, and their corpses were all taken in. He glanced at the dying grass in the dried apricot forest. After setting up a formation casually, he also retreated. Although there is no swarm of cold flame bugs, but with the shock of today's battle, neither the thunder toad nor the Xianqing spirit snake will take advantage of this earth-sun grass. After 7 days of seclusion, Su Junming finally recovered from his weakness. With a movement in his heart, the yin and yang mill flew out from his danshan. As soon as the mana was activated, 2 blue halos appeared. 2 low-grade spiritual weapons from the spiritual Forbidden City. Su Junming was filled with joy. Because a lot of resources had been invested before, once the catastrophe was over, the yin and yang great mill spawned 2 spiritual bands. In fact, based on Su Junming's understanding of the yin and yang, a 3rd spiritual forbidden realm can be derived. However, the accumulation of yin and yang's great grinding is insufficient and can only be left to the future. Even so, he was happy. This is a spiritual weapon. The entire mission Nanzong only has 3 items. Become a disciple of Taoist priest 4 eyes. Author, Dong Ren. Chapter 196. Chapter 194, Rich Harvest. Of course, the lack of spiritual weapons does not mean that there are few refined spiritual weapons. In fact, many spiritual weapons are destroyed when the cultivators go through the tribulation. After all, it is difficult to refine spiritual weapons, and they are basically natal spiritual weapons. Most of the monks who have the strength and opportunity to refine their natal spiritual weapons will achieve the perfection of the golden elixir and try to survive the nascent soul heavenly tribulation. The natal spiritual weapon is the most powerful means to resist the catastrophe. No one would have the luxury to keep a spiritual weapon and resist the catastrophe by himself. People with this kind of thinking will have grass growing 10 feet high on their graves. After surviving the catastrophe, the innate yin and yang energy in the yin and yang great mill that became the spiritual weapon has changed from a trace at the beginning to a wisp, and its power has become stronger. He reached out and pointed, and a ball of blue flame the size of a basketball flew out. This flame didn't have any heat at all, instead it had a faint coolness, but the burning Dharma intention in it was extremely astonishing. This is the aggregation of the yin fire in the body of the cold flame bug mother and tens of thousands of cold flame bugs. A kind of spiritual fire of the middle grade from the cave. Spiritual fire is not a spiritual weapon, but with this middle grade Dongxian spiritual fire, there is great hope of cultivating a flame spiritual weapon. After a brief consideration, he took out the purple yang lamp and handed it to Renwiji along with the yin fire. You use the method of yin and yang to produce each other, and use yin fire to strengthen yang fire. After the two sides are balanced, you can practice it and add another spiritual weapon to us. After taking the Xiang lantern and the spirit fire, Renwiji turned around and walked towards his cave. After staring at his back for a moment, Su Junming looked away. With one finger pointing at the yin-yang great mill, a 10-foot-long, half-human, half-insect corpse appeared in front of him. Examine it and reach out. A faint blue demon pill with 4 stripes on its surface flew out from the corpse of the female insect. The cold flame stink bug has the cultivation level of the 4th turn golden elixir. Although the spiritual energy contained in this demon elixir is not as good as the 6th turn diamond relic he obtained before, it is still a rare treasure. In addition to spiritual energy, the demon pill also contains the demon soul of the cold flame bug mother. After refining it, his Yimeng Huangliang can take a big step forward even if it is not enough to advance as a spiritual weapon. In addition to the demon pill, the corpse of the insect mother is also a treasure. Especially the hard carapace on his lower body, if you refine it at will, you can create several top-quality magic weapons. However, it takes a lot of effort to refine it into a spiritual weapon. Su Junming had no intention of refining the spiritual weapon. Instead, he wanted to use the corpse of the insect mother to practice a few top-quality magic weapons and equip his own magical generals. The demon pills and insect corpses were put into the magic bag separately. Then point to the great grinding of yin and yang. A thunderball with a diameter of 1 foot and the size of a water tank flew out from it. This is the tribulation thunder that was preserved during the great tribulation of yin and yang. Su Junming planned to use brocade weaving techniques to make 2-sided skins to prepare for the future practice of the Tianlei drum. In addition to the tribulation thunder, the last thing was the corpses of thousands of cold flame bugs. As spiritual insects of the middle grade, they can also be used to practice magic weapons. However, after the yin-yang great grinding advanced the spiritual weapon, he no longer looked down upon the ordinary magic weapon. Get rid of Wukanjing and use it to refine spiritual talismans. With so many cold flame bugs, at least tens of thousands of Dongjin's middle-grade spiritual talismans can be refined, or thousands of Dongjin's top-grade spiritual talismans. With their blessing, the power of Tianluo umbrella can be it's going to be another level. In addition to what was stored in the yin-yang great mill, Su Junming had other harvests. For example, the dying grass and hundreds of dead apricots were originally taken over by the cold flame bug swarm. These apricot trees are spiritual roots cultivated by Chen Lin earlier. Although they are not of high grade and have lost their vitality, they are also Dongzhen low-grade and Dongzhen mid-grade spiritual trees, which can be used to practice spiritual talismans or magic weapons. After strengthening the magic circle set up by Renwiji, attracting spiritual energy, and donating spiritual water, the growth of dying grass was a bit more vigorous than before. The cultivation of elixirs and spiritual plants is also a technical activity. Chen Lin, the cheap disciple who has been reincarnated, is an expert in this field, and there are many records in this field in the books he left behind. The accumulation of Mishan Nanzong over 2,000 years is extremely rich. As the best of both families, with the help of the bronze mirror, Su Junming is naturally better than his master. After arranging the spoils, the next step is the digestion process. In a blink of an eye, another year has passed. Su Junming sat on the cloud bed with his eyes closed, holding the Tianluo umbrella in both hands. A bulge kept wandering around in the umbrella. "You brat, you can't do anything to me when the Paradise Soul House is here. Why don't you let me out? I promise not to seek revenge on you. It's been 2 years, why don't you change a new set of words?" Su Junming shook his head, "but since you want to come up with it, then come out." Opening the Tianluo umbrella, a strong yin energy flew out instantly. "Haha, Junior. If you don't mind war and deceit, why don't you come to my spiritual house? The yin qi hooded Su Junming's head. But just 3 feet above his head, a spinning millstone appeared, and a strong suction enveloped the yin qi. Like a long neck absorbing water, it was swallowed instantly. Spiritual weapon. No. The millstone rotates, and the yin and yang light shines brightly. You brat, I'm just kidding you. Ah, let this millstone stop. The screams were endless. Junior, I was wrong, please let me go. Seeing that the bliss spiritual house is getting smaller and smaller under the innate yin and yang energy of this millstone, the old man whose life is connected to it can naturally feel the pain. What is more painful than the pain is the approaching footsteps of death. Little grandpa, let me go. I am willing to offer you the method of constructing the paradise soul house. No, I am willing to offer my soul. Su Junming sat cross-legged and turned a deaf ear, only urging the yin and yang to grind. As if aware of his determination to kill. Damn, and Yuan, curse you to collapse on the way, and your soul to go to the 18th level of hell, and you will never be reincarnated. Humph, use the mortal soul sacrifice to practice the paradise soul house. I think you are the one who will not be reincarnated in the 18th level of hell. After reading Luo Xiaobao's memories, I naturally understood what this old guy was doing secretly. But even though he thought so, the old man's soul was connected to the bliss spirit house. If the spirit house was destroyed, his soul would naturally be wiped out as well. He is not even qualified to go to hell. Rumble. The yin-yang great polishing spirit flashed, and a third blue circle of light emerged. Su Junming was delighted when he saw this. After practicing for half a year, there is no movement. I didn't expect that after swallowing this old ghost's paradise spiritual house, this treasure of mine would give birth to a third spiritual taboo. Not bad, not bad. He reached out and made a move, and a piece of paper that was 3 square meters in size and flashed with 5-color spiritual light flew out of the yin-yang moyo's eyes. Is this Kinkan paper? Divine consciousness immersed. It's such a rich spiritual energy of the 5 elements, but I just don't know how to practice it. After 2 years of enlightenment, although with the help of the bronze mirror, I understood the little Zushan Yunjin true method of constructing the bliss spiritual house, I could not understand the method of sacrificial training of the Kinkan paper. He also didn't figure out how to separate the old man's soul from the paradise spiritual house. In desperation, we can only destroy them together. Holding the Kinkan paper in his hand, Su Junming had no intention of cultivating another paradise spiritual house. It's not that he doesn't want it, but the promotion method of the paradise spiritual house, based on the Yangli Yin Lai, requires a large amount of pure yin energy and pure yang energy to support. If you have this energy and resources, you might as well use them to practice the yin and yang great grinding. The latter is his own spiritual weapon. In addition, the paradise spiritual house must derive the 5 elements before it can create a space for yang people to enter. Pure yin derives from pure yang, yin and yang derives from the 4 images, and the 4 images transform into the 5 elements. I don't know how long it will take to complete the whole set. In comparison, it seems easier to advance the way of space to the red basic talisman stage by yourself. When the time comes, to open up a small space that can fit in, there is no need to be born with a spiritual being with all 5 elements, as long as it is a spiritual being. As for the Kinkan paper, it's time for Tianluo umbrella to be promoted. After settling old matters, unsealing the Tianluo umbrella, and putting all the previously refined talismans inside, Su Junming stood up and walked off the stone bed. After arriving outside the cave, I walked around the medicine garden, grain garden, and other places on the top of the mountain, and then sat down on a rock by the lake. Ever since he killed the cold flame bug mother and subdued the sky green spirit snake and thunder toad, there was no place in the entire black underworld valley that he couldn't go to. He glanced at the empty green spirit snake lying in the lake, and looked at the lush green Dede mountains outside the formation, and gradually felt the desire to leave in his heart. He has been practicing in seclusion here for 2 years, and has almost digested all kinds of income. It is time to go out and look for new opportunities. With the thought of leaving, it grows rapidly like weeds. But if he wants to leave, he won't be able to leave immediately. He also needs time to deal with some trivial matters. 1 month later, Su Junming called Mao Miao Miao and King Niao over at the same time. "Get ready, we are leaving." Chirp chirp. The little blue bird jumped for joy. If it hadn't been blocked by the formation, it would have wanted to go to the valley a long time ago. "Leave?" Mao Miao Miao hesitated. "What, you want to stay? The spiritual energy here is rich, and I want to practice well here for a while." Seeing Su Junming's rapid progress in cultivation, Mao Miao Miao was naturally unwilling to lag behind. "Then you stay. Take good care of the medicine garden, grain garden, tea garden, and spiritual plants for me, activate the spirit gathering array every day, get rid of pests, and pour spiritual water. Don't neglect it." Mao Miao Miao nodded. Dong dong. Following the sound of heavy footsteps approaching from far away, a tall figure wearing black armor and holding a fangtian painted halberd walked out of the cave at the rear. In the eyes of ordinary people, Su Junming is tall enough, but this person is half a head taller than him, probably no less than 2 meters taller. What's even more frightening is the tyrannical aura he carries. Mao Miao Miao and Little Bluebird both subconsciously showed fear. Su Junming's heart moved, and the protector's black armor instantly turned into a black robe. The 1'2" fangtian painted halberd turned into 1 foot in length and was put into the magic bag at his waist. This momentum is still too strong. He took out a Dongzhen top-quality sealing talisman from the Tianluo umbrella and put it into Lupin's chest. After activating it, his aura instantly dropped a lot. "Although it's still not enough, at least I can hide it from those innate stage monks, that's all." You are listening to Novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. Please subscribe to receive new novels. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. Become a disciple of Taoist priest 4 Eyes. Author, Dong Ren. Chapter 197. Chapter 195, 3 Towns in Jiangan. After Lupin, 6 people in total, including the old, middle, young, and a foreigner wearing Taoist robes, followed. Su Junming can multi-purpose. In addition to himself, he can also control 7 Dharma-protecting generals. And he now has a total of 9 guardian generals. Renwuji looked like a 6 or 7-year-old child and was not suitable for driving corpses. Vivian was a Western woman and was not suitable either. The rest is what is in front of me. Of course, the 2 people he eliminated were also kept in his portable magic bag, which could be replaced at any time, and could also be nourished with spiritual energy to further strengthen them. When the puppet magic talisman takes a further step, I won't let myself wait in vain. Su Junming waved his hand, and a large seal, a bone needle, a long sword, 2 ropes, and 2 umbrellas appeared in front of him. The big seal and the long sword are 2 top-quality magical weapons obtained from Ren Xiang. The rock seal with 11 treasure bands, and the black sword with 12 treasure bands. The bone needle is his white bone needle, which absorbs the essence of the cold flame bug mother's skeleton and is a top-notch magic weapon that has been used to practice the 12 treasure taboos. The 2 ropes are the devil-subduing golden lock that he practiced using Ren Xiang's 9 nether mysterious formation, each with 11 restrictions. 2 umbrellas, 1 4-elephant umbrella and 1 Bagua umbrella, they are the 2 array diagrams replaced by his Tianluo umbrella, combined with the cold flame bug's mother skin shell, and they are also the perfect 12-fold treasure prohibition. The best magic weapon. The 7 top-quality magical weapons, plus the Vajra circle hanging around Renwuji's neck, the black dragon armor and the coiling dragon halberd in Lupin's hands, almost used up all the material Su Junming had accumulated over the years. If it weren't for his own increasingly sophisticated weapon refining skills and the contributions of many treasure-giving boys, he might not have been able to assemble so many top-quality magic weapons. You must know that many Jindan monks are using top-quality magic weapons instead of spiritual weapons. You each take one piece. Lupin did not move. He has the black dragon armor for protection and the coiling dragon halberd for attack, which is enough for now. The remaining 7 people each took a magic weapon and put it in their arms. With a top-quality magic weapon in his possession, even if he encounters a monk with a level 3 or lower level of golden elixir, he can still withstand 1 or 2. Buy enough time for Su Junming to rush to rescue. As for the middle stage of the golden elixir, the middle stage of the golden elixir in the cultivation world is rare, but there are definitely not many. Almost all of them are Optimus Primes who are sitting on one side. Who would wander around outside if nothing happens? A few Dharma Protector generals were just chasing away corpses outside, and they would not provoke such a master. Meow, sir, can you give me a magic weapon too? Mao Meow Meow has long been envious of Su Junming's large wholesale of magical artifacts. Licking his face directly, he came over. Seeing her trying to pretend to be well-behaved and cute, Su Junming smiled faintly. If I come back next time and see the medicine garden, grain garden, tea garden, and ground grass growing well, I will give you one. Not now. No reward for no merit, you are not qualified now. Seeing his resolute attitude, Mao Meow Meow curled her mouth and stopped talking. Whoosh! The little bluebird cried. Obviously it also knows that magic weapons are good things. Don't join in the fun and practice honestly. Whenever you make great achievements, I will give you this green wooden stick in my hand. Whoosh whoosh! The little bluebird flaps its wings, looking extremely confident. After patting its head, he turned to look at Mao Meow Meow. Take good care of your home. People know. Su Junming nodded slightly, activated the formation, and with the power of the formation, he brought many Dharma protecting generals to the outside of the valley in an instant. Looking back, I saw that it was just a mist-shrouded valley, no different from its surroundings. The top of the mountain where he planted the elixir was also hidden in the white clouds, and nothing unusual could be seen. He nodded with satisfaction, took out the yin-yang great mill, and jumped on it with the Dharma protector general. When the magic power is activated, the big mill rises into the sky. The spiritual weapon can already take people flying. However, it consumes a lot of mana. After flying out of Shenangjia and getting over the addiction of flying to Qingming, Su Junming descended. There was nothing urgent, and he didn't want to waste his energy on the road. Along the way, Su Junming took the Dharma protector to drive away corpses to earn merit, and Su Junming first went to Tanzhou. Originally, I thought that my Hushan magic talisman had entered the blue basic talisman, and with Lupin and Renwuji, 2 guardian gods with golden elixir power, on my side, I wanted to conquer the underworld space in the Sen family's old house. Unexpectedly, when he got there, he didn't notice the existence of Yinlai at all. Even the incident of the Sen mansion being haunted has not happened for half a year. Su Junming couldn't figure out whether the underworld was subdued. Or did it move on its own? Seeing that his hope was in vain, he stayed in Tanzhou for half a month, taught Mao Tiaoyu, and tested his 4 elephant palms. Su Junming went all the way north and entered the 3 towns of Jiangan. As the capital of Baihu, and relying on the convenient water transportation of the Yangtze River, the prosperity of the 3 towns of Jiangan is far better than that of Tanzhou, and it is one of the few important towns and cities in southern China. There are no traces of the revolution that broke out a few years ago, and the 3 towns of Jiangan are still as prosperous as ever. Su Junming looked at the city, which became famous in later generations and is now well known throughout the country. The purple air crown covers hundreds of miles, in the shape of a turtle and a snake. The city's luck is at its peak. It is the best among all the cities he has visited so far. As long as the Turtle and Snake Mountains are not destroyed and the Yangtze River water veins are not destroyed, the three Jiangnan towns will enjoy prosperity forever. The deeper you understand Tai Bagua, the stronger your understanding of numerology and Feng Shui will be. With the cooperation of the Bronze Mirror, Su Junming can now be called a master. Taoist master, Vuchain has arrived. The ship boss said respectfully. This Taoist was tall and strong, and one could tell at a glance that he was not someone to be trifled with. After Su Junming paid the ship fare, he stepped off the ship. Because it is backed by the Yangtze River, Vuchain's water transportation is developed, and the docks are especially busy. There are boatmen in waistcoats, sweating, shouting slogans to move goods, businessmen in decent clothes, arguing about prices, boat passengers who are anxious to go home after getting off the boat. They look like they belong to the market. The breath of life blows in your face. Of course, in this crowded place, all kinds of flavors are really overwhelming. Su Junming didn't want to stay long, and just as he was about to leave, he heard a bang sound. Get out of the way, the old hanging tower is falling. Someone shouted urgently. Su Junming turned around and saw a building standing on the riverside, more than 6 meters high. The crane usually used to unload cargo from the ship had fallen down for some reason. At this time, the terminal planning was very primitive, and it was normal for passengers and cargo to be separated. If this old tower crane is allowed to fall, dozens of lives may be lost or injured underneath. The situation was urgent. Su Junming didn't bother to hide, and waved the green wood stick in his hand. Aoki divine stick. In an instant, 3 large wooden piles that were as thick as each other stood up abruptly from the ground. They blocked the falling tower crane with several clang sounds. At the same time, countless tough rattans grew from the tree stumps, catching the fallen debris from the tower crane. And the operator who fainted from fright, were trapped. A disaster was eliminated. Su Junming no longer cared about it, and left with a green wooden staff. Master, are you okay? Qianwan Chun looked at the 3 large wooden piles close at hand and the dense and tough rattan on them in shock. He couldn't recover for a while. He had to pay his own way and survived. Master, master. Seeing that he was silent for a while, the servant became anxious. Okay, okay, stop shaking. If you keep shaking, if you are not crushed to death by this crane, you will be rocked to death by your idiot. The servant was afraid and said quickly, Master, I am also in a hurry. He waved his hand to interrupt him. Okay, for the sake of your loyalty to protect the Lord, let's forget it this time. Thank you, sir, thank you, sir. Do you know what's going on? Qianwan Chun pointed at the big wooden pile next to him. Old slave, go and inquire now. A few young servants were recruited from the team, and the old servant took them away. After a short time, they came back to report. Sir, according to people who saw it on the pier, a tall Taoist priest with a wooden staff just swung his way here, and 3 large wooden piles appeared out of thin air on the ground to withstand the falling crane. Qianwan Chun's eyes lit up and he said hurriedly. Where is the Taoist? Left already. Then hurry up and chase after me. When the old servant heard this, he quickly took people to look for him. That Taoist must be a Taoist master. If we can get him to take action, my son will be saved. Not to mention Qianwan Chun's excitement, there were many people on the pier. Many people saw this scene, and there were also a few who wanted to find this Taoist master. Lin, did you see that scene just now? A foreigner in a suit excitedly pointed to the big wooden pile in the distance. Next to him, a young man who was also wearing a suit and had a distinctly Chinese face nodded in a daze. Although he grew up listening to stories about Chinese monsters, he never thought that there really was something supernatural like Taoism in the world. Great, coming to China this time is the wisest decision in my life. The young foreigner opened his arms excitedly and shouted, I want to explore this mysterious land. Everyone around him responded with curious looks. If they hadn't understood English, the look on their faces might have been caring for the mentally retarded. The young man named Lin next to him felt somewhat embarrassed under the eyes of everyone. "James, let's go quickly." "Lin, let's not go to your house first. Let's go find that magical Chinese mage." After saying that, without waiting for his reply, James had already hurriedly chased in the direction Su Junming left. "Xiao Lin Kun, have you seen it?" A slim woman wearing an indigo skirt, with a hollow black gauze covering her head and face, and wearing women's gloves on her arms asked. "Hi. It should be the secret technique of wood escape from Chinese Taoism." Saburo Kobayashi said respectfully. "The only one who is proficient in both Jiamu and Yumudeo is Long Hushan Tianchi Deo. At such a young age, he has such a profound realm of wood escape. It seems that he is a direct descendant of Long Hushan. This person is indeed good, but he is much worse than Hanako-sama." Hanako Ito smiled faintly, glanced at him, and stepped forward. "Where is Colonel Yamashita?" "Waiting for Hanako-sama at the consulate." "Let's go. Become a disciple of Taoist priest Four Eyes." Author, Dong Ren. Chapter 198. Chapter 196 Ghost Tears. Su Junming had long expected that someone would follow him after he performed his Taoist magic. So after entering the city, he found a deserted corner and used the Hu Tian Shen technique to shake off the tail that was following him. He took out a bagua plate from the magic bag, which was also a feng shui plate. This was a magic weapon he refined himself that corresponded to the Tei Bagua. Tei Bagua is consistent with numerology, which is the way of destiny. Su Junming did not include this Tao in his 12 compulsory Taoist practices. It's not that he doesn't want to, it's that the path of destiny is mysterious and difficult to comprehend. What's even more difficult is that every time he comprehends it, a heartless nature arises in his heart, with no joy, no sorrow, no desires, and no desires. Feel. That kind of feeling without any emotion, just cold, is really scary. Su Junming practices Taoism in order to become an immortal and to be free and at ease, not to be a robot without any emotions. Gradually, he also understood. The way of heaven does not allow anyone to become enlightened by fate and control the number of lives in the world, unless you are in line with the way of heaven. After realizing this, Su Junming completely gave up the idea of majoring in Tei Bagua, and only occasionally studied it, which was enough. Mobilizing the mana and urging the Bagua disc, the pointer inside quickly started to rotate, and after a short time, it stopped. "It's really here." Su Junming looked happy and looked for it in the direction pointed by the pointer. Walking through the streets and alleys, we soon came to the outside of a house with white walls and grey tiles. The courtyards in the south are different from those in the north. Most of the courtyards in the north are traditional courtyard houses. The one in front of you is facing a white wall about 6 meters high, with a window on each side. The cornices and brackets protrude from the wall, and the 2 pillars below support a foyer. Inside are 2 black wooden doors with a bronze lion bite ring above the wooden doors, and 2 stone drums with relief patterns on both sides. The horizontal inscription "Family Happiness" directly above has lost all its color under the erosion of wind and rain. Above the horizontal panel, there is a black wooden plaque hanging. It can be seen that it has just been painted and the paint color is still new. In the center of the plaque, there are 2 running scripts Zifu engraved in gold lacquer. Although the surname Zi is not among the hundreds of surnames, it is indeed one of the Chinese surnames. Ko Gongji records that in the Zhou dynasty, Zi was an official, and later he took Guan as his surname. Ziren is a craftsman who attacks wood. That is, the craftsmen who make wooden ware. This should be it. After examining it for a moment, Su Junming stepped forward and knocked on the door. Not long after, a boy wearing a square hat opened the door and poked half of his head out for a closer look. "The Taoist priest knocked on my door. Is there something wrong? Young layman, please come. May I ask if the name of the master here is Zi Ching or Zi Shaogong? Exactly. Does the Taoist priest know my master? Su Junming smiled and nodded. Please, little layman, please inform your master that Mission Taoist Su Junming is visiting. Seeing the certainty of his words, the boy nodded doubtfully. Taoist master, please wait here. I will go in and report. Easy to say. After the boy closed the door with a creak, he hurried through the foyer and came to a patio surrounded by attics on 3 sides. Entering the hall on the left, I looked around, but I didn't see the master. Xiaokui, where is the master? Viewing flowers in the backyard with my wife. The boy quickly turned around and ran towards the back. This guy just ran away without even saying a word. I'll pay attention to you next time. After swearing a few times angrily, he wiped the table with a little more force. Passing through the hanging flower gate directly opposite the courtyard gate, you are faced with a small garden of about 100 square meters. A middle-aged man wearing a green robe and black-rimmed glasses, who looked elegant, was sitting on a bench with an elegant, although not beautiful, but extremely dignified beautiful woman. Not far in front of them, there were 2.5-sized children, holding onto the bricks, sticking out their little buttocks, and looking at the fish swimming in the pond. From time to time, I would throw a small stone into it and watch the fish scatter away, letting out childish laughter like silver bells. The boy quickly stepped forward and bowed to salute. Sir, madam. Young mistress, you came here in a panic. What's wrong? The middle-aged man asked. Reporting to the master, a Taoist from Mission came outside the door, named Su Junming, claiming to be an old acquaintance of the master. My old acquaintance. After Zi Ching pondered for a moment, he shook his head. I have never known any Taoists, let alone any Taoist priests. After a pause, I guess the monk is hungry and comes to beg for food. Give him some dry food and send him away by the way. After responding, the mistress was about to leave when she suddenly stopped and turned around again. By the way, master. The Taoist said the master's name in one breath, as if he had known him before. Know my name? Zi Ching frowned slightly. Shaogong, why don't you go and have a look? Maybe he is really an old acquaintance of yours, the lady next to him advised. Zi Ching nodded. Then just listen to madam. Stand up. Mistress, go and take the guests to the main hall. Yes, sir. Zi Ching came to the front living room. Master. The maid who was cleaning the room quickly came forward to say hello. Xiaokui, go bring 2 cups of tea. Yes. Not long after, the mistress came in with 2 people. The first one was wearing a navy blue robe, wearing a pair of dormant shoes, and holding a 6-foot green wooden staff in his right hand. He is tall, with a rugged face that exudes prowess, and his long hair tied back casually. His black and white eyes, as deep as abyss, are particularly eye-catching. That gaze seemed to penetrate right into the heart. The one at the back is taller, and taller, with arms and waist, handsome appearance, but his expression is a little cold, especially his eyes are a little dull. Zi Ching quickly glanced at the 2 of them and couldn't remember where he had seen them before. However, he has a well-educated family and good etiquette. So I got up early and went to greet him. I met 2 Taoist priests in Xiaoziking. Mission Taoist Su Junming pays his respects. Who is this? Zi Ching pointed at Lupin behind him. This is my longtime follower. I am not good at words. I hope that layman Zi will not be surprised. That's it, please sit down, both of you. After the guests and hosts were seated, Taoist Master Su said that he was reconnecting with an old acquaintance. Forgive Zi for being stupid. I really can't remember where I met Taoist Director. I have never met you. I said that just to meet Master Zi. I hope you will forgive me. Zi Ching frowned, feeling a little angry in his heart. In that case, why does the Taoist master know my name? Of course, a close relative of the layman informed Pandeo, Su Junming said with a smile. Blood relatives. Exactly. Impossible. Both my parents have passed away. I only have one sister in my generation, and she disappeared many years ago. I have no other blood relatives at all. Having said this, Zi Ching's expression froze, as if he thought of something, and looked at Su Junming excitedly and expectantly. Could it be, could it be? Noticing the scrutinizing look in his eyes, Su Junming knew that he had misunderstood. I am not his nephew. Please also ask Master Zi to step aside. Zi Ching nodded quickly and waved vigorously. Ziasenzi, Ziaqiui, you go out, you don't need to wait here anymore. The two of them did not dare to disobey and walked out quickly. After the door was closed, Su Junming stretched out his hand, and the light of the Tianluo umbrella flashed, sealing the entire room. With a false move of his left hand, a grain of colorful yellow rice flew out, and with the help of his magic power, a dignified and beautiful girl, about 17 or 18 years old, wearing a long goose yellow skirt with tassels around her waist and long hair hanging down her shoulders, appeared from it. Zi Ching was stunned when he saw this girl. Elder brother! The girl shouted excitedly. In an instant, Zi Ching felt as if he had been struck by lightning. Younger sister! After shouting excitedly, the two stepped forward and hugged each other tightly, tears streaming down their cheeks and unable to control themselves. With Su Junming's yellow rice as a support, the girl has a body and can touch things in the world. However, Su Junming was stunned when he saw her crying. Ghosts are evil creatures and cannot have tears. But now, Su Junming felt that his outlook on life had changed again. However, he no longer cares about this. Those drops of ghost tears contain huge power of 7 emotions and 6 desires, which are the first-class qualifications for him to advance to the Yimeng Huang Liang. With a gesture of his hand, these ghost tears shining with faint 7-color light flew into the copper bowl and were absorbed by the yellow rice. As his own magical weapon, Su Junming clearly sensed that the grade of Huangliangmai was constantly improving. Since absorbing the spiritual power in the Vajra relic, Yimen Huangliang has advanced into the best magical weapon of the 11 treasures. Now there are ghost tears full of emotional power, the grade of yellow rice has been improved, and Su Junming's understanding of the soul is also constantly integrated. Gradually, the 12th treasure taboo emerged. Soon, a feeling of completeness emerged in his heart. Among the best magic weapons, the last one is the most difficult to practice. Even if the training is complete, it is more difficult to accumulate the foundation to overcome the tribulation and become a spiritual weapon than to practice the 12 treasure prohibitions from beginning to end. After the great grinding of yin and yang, it advanced into a spiritual weapon. In addition to its own innate yin and yang qi, it also had all the spiritual qi of the 6-turn Vajra relic, as well as the Xianshuangyin evil accumulated over thousands of years in the Black Underworld Valley. Although the 19 drops of ghost tears at this moment were not as good as the relics and Xianshuangyin Sha, they still saved him at least 5 years of hard work in refining the treasure. Yimen Huangliang has taken a big step forward on the road to advanced spiritual weapons. Looking at his brother and sister who had calmed down a lot, Su Junming really wanted to make them cry a little longer. But think about it and forget it. That girl was born with a phoenix destiny, and she was blessed with good luck, which was beyond words. He finally refined the Josician demonic chi in her body and restored her true appearance. It seems that as long as she is sent to reincarnation, a great meritorious deed will be achieved. At the critical moment, it's better not to make any mistakes. Sister, what are you? After calming down, Zi Ching finally discovered something was wrong with his sister. As my brother has seen, my sister and I have become a ghost now. Ghost. There was a hint of shock on Zi Ching's face. Ever since he was young, ghosts have always been negative images in his mind, such as being vicious, green-faced, fanged, and ugly. When I heard it suddenly, I was naturally scared. Brother, you must be afraid. After being rescued by Taoist Master Zitong and restored to his original state, he has never done evil again. After all, it was blood and family ties, plus the innocence and cuteness of her sister, who was still the same as in the impression. After the initial fear passed, humane feelings took over. At Succubus Queen Jezebeth, Zitong, wrote it for you. Phoenix bloodline is added later, but the power level of the Phoenix is too high, and there cannot be too many plots in the world of Uncle Nine. As for the innate 5 square flag, it needs to be further back. After all, Tais Hanglajun, Zunti, and Yuanchi Tianzun are not good people. Become a disciple of Taoist priest 4 eyes. Author, Dong Ren. Chapter 199. Chapter 197, The Fusion of 3 Paths, the foundation is greatly enhanced. How did my sister become like this? It's a long story. That day, I was kidnapped by thieves on my way back from going to Jingguang Temple to offer incense. Not even half a year later, my life was taken away, and my soul was used to practice evil. For 20 years, I was in a state of confusion until half a year later. Many years ago, he was rescued by the Taoist master and restored to his true self. With that said, the girl Zitong saluted Su Junming. Thank you, Taoist priest, for saving my sister from suffering. Zi Ching also bowed and saluted. It is my duty as a Taoist to kill demons and uphold the right path. You two laymen do not need to be polite. After thanking Su Junming, Zitong quickly said, Brother, where are my parents? I want to see them. Zi Ching sighed. My mother was depressed all day long after you were kidnapped, and she passed away within a year. Your father loved you the most, and he was the one who suffered the biggest blow after you went missing. Later, when my mother passed away, my father became even more worried and sick. After 3 years, he also flew away on a crane. Before he left, my father held my hand and told me repeatedly that I must find you. It's so pitiful that now you and I, brother and sister, meet each other, but our yin and yang are separated. Woohoo, it's really a trick of fate. Let me, my brother, how to explain to my parents who are under the influence of Jiquan. Father, mother. The brother and sister looked at each other with tears in their eyes. Su Junming stood aside silently, calling over the colorful teardrops. Although the love between brother and sister is deep, it seems a bit unethical to silently make a fortune while the cuckoo cries blood. But if these ghost tears were allowed to dissipate between heaven and earth, he would not be able to part with them anyway. If God doesn't take what he wants, he will be blamed. I am also following the will of God. Su Junming picked up ghost tears a little faster. Taoist priest, can I stay in the earthly world and reunite with my family for a few days before reincarnation? Zitong asked after calming down. After receiving so many benefits from others, Su Junming naturally would not refuse. We haven't seen each other for more than 20 years. It's understandable that the Xian brothers and sisters have a deep brotherhood. However, you are the body of a ghost and cannot be exposed to the sun. In addition, this grain of yellow rice is left for you. As long as it is there, you can. It's physical. Thank you, Taoist priest. Little lady, please remember your teachings. After Su Junming nodded, he smiled at Zi Cheng. Jushi Zi, can you arrange a guest room for Pandeo to stay in the mansion for a few days? Of course. Xiaqui. Come on, layman, your sister's state is not easy for outsiders to see. Yes, thank you for the reminder, Taoist priest, he frowned, but how can I hide in front of others? Su Junming flicked his fingers, and a flash of spiritual light entered Zitong's body. The latter suddenly realized, with a flash of inspiration, his body disappeared, leaving only a yellow rice floating in the air with colorful auras. The inspiration flashed again, and she emerged from it. If outsiders come from now on, you can hide in this grain of rice. Zitong nodded, a look of gratitude on his pretty face. Taoist master, can my wife and 2 children recognize my little sister? Since they are blood relatives, there is no problem. However, you still need to worry about how to make them accept Zi Jushi's identity as a ghost. If you wake up again, thank you Taoist priest Yuchen. You're welcome, layman. Waving his hand to recall the sealing talisman, Zitong hid in the rice, flew into the vase on the table and hid behind him, and the door opened. Xiaokui, come in. The maid who had just left quickly walked in. Take the 2 Taoist priests to stay in the guest room. Remember, the Taoist priests are my distinguished guests and cannot be neglected. 2 Taoist priests, please, Xiaokui nodded and said quickly. Su Junming took Lupin out of the living room. When he saw the woman coming from the back garden and the 2 children in his hands, he smiled slightly, nodded, and followed Xiaokui to the guest room opposite. As for how Zitong recognized his sister-in-law, nephews and nieces, how to pay homage to parents, he didn't want to care. As long as this goddess of Phoenix destiny fulfills her wish and reincarnates peacefully, it will be fine. Arriving at the guest room and sending Xiaokui away, Su Junming couldn't wait to take out Yimen Huangliang. The yellow rice grains shimmered with colorful spiritual light, each grain was extremely full, and its spirituality was more than 10 times stronger than before. Surrounded by clouds inside, it transforms into cars, horses, cows, houses, human figures, etc. In particular, the 12 white halos above Yimeng's yellow beam show that this treasure is now a top-quality magic weapon with a 12-level treasure ban. After completing the 12 levels of treasure ban, you will be qualified to survive the heavenly tribulation. Success is a spiritual weapon. However, if you want to survive successfully, you still need to accumulate a lot. Such a harvest far exceeded Su Junming's expectations. Is this a reward given by heaven for helping the born phoenix life, a person with great luck? Su Junming is not sure. However, the ghost tears of Phoenix Goddess were so fragrant that they directly upgraded Yimen Huangliang into a top-quality magic weapon with 12 levels of treasure ban. Su Junming suddenly had a whim when he looked at the yellow rice that was surrounded by colorful auras that shone like a string of pearls. Yellow rice can support the soul path, but I wonder if it can support other avenues. Thoughts are unstoppable throughout life. Subconsciously add your own talisman and understanding of the way of space into it. Huangliang Lingmai immediately sensed it, and a white spiritual light gradually emerged. The storm inside Lingmai was turbulent, as if it had actually transformed into a world, becoming extremely distant. When Huangliang Lingmai's 7-color aura turned into 8 colors, 2 insights suddenly appeared in Su Junming's heart. The Bridge of the Void, the Dharma realm of the universe. 2 magical changes. Su Junming was excited. Since he practiced the Huangliang Lingmai as his expected natal treasure of the soul path, this treasure has a total of 3 magical powers: soul binding, heart purifying, and dreamy Huangliang. Jinghun, as the name suggests, can detain the soul, purifying the heart can eliminate distracting thoughts, and dreaming of yellow beams can explore memories. Now after integrating the space path, Yimen Huangliang has 2 more magical powers. The Bridge of Void, according to what I understand in my heart, is a bridge paved with yellow rice. 1 step is 1,000 feet away. It is several times more powerful than his Hu Tian Shenzingju. As for the universe Dharma realm, it is quite similar to the Yinlai he encountered in Tanzhou City. It can only accommodate the souls of living beings, but cannot accommodate any matter. As long as any ghost enters the Kinkan Dharma realm, his life and death will be decided by him. After picking up a grain of yellow rice, there seems to be a miniature mountain and river in it. Rivers, mountains, rivers, city walls, farmland, pedestrians, and animals are all there, like a microcosm of the real world. 40 feet. Su Junming understood clearly in his heart. This Kinkan Dharma realm similar to the underworld is only 40 feet in size. However, what excites him even more than these gains is it works. Different avenues can rest on the same natal treasure. In the future, you won't have to worry about collecting treasure materials to practice natal magic weapons. Su Junming felt excited. He continued his efforts and tried to integrate the talismans and insights of the Earth Emperor's way into Yimeng Huangliang. But the ruthless reality soon gave him a slap in the face. The talisman of Earth Emperor Dao was ejected. No. Su Junming was stunned. How could it not work? Tried again, but still didn't work. I couldn't figure out the reason, so I could only try something else. As a result, the sword path, thunder path, etc. all failed, and only the life talisman of the reincarnation path was incorporated. A black light is derived from the yellow rice. Deep underground in the miniature world of Huangliangmai, a tall stone archway appeared. In the center of the archway were 3 blood-red seal characters Gaiman Pass. Behind the gate of hell appeared another river with no beginning and no end, and a turbid river. Next to the river was a stone tablet with the words Yellow Spring written on it. At the same time, 2 new insights emerged in Su Junming's mind. Gate of Hell. Yellow Spring River. Gaimanguan is for defensive Taoism, while Huanquan is for attacking Taoism. Su Junming pointed at the yellow rice and dreamed of it. Except for the yellow rice lent to Zitong, the remaining 364 grains of yellow rice instantly turned into a muddy yellow river 2 feet long and 5 feet wide. The river exudes a strong aura of death, and there is also a strange force that seems to attract people's souls. As soon as my heart moved, the Huanquan River instantly turned into a ghost gate 2 meters high and 3 meters wide, and a feeling of solidity and concentration filled the air. In fact, whether it was Gaiman Pass or Huanquan River, Su Junming did not unleash all their power. After all, this was not a wilderness, but the Zi family. After all, it is not good to make a mess in someone else's house. After carrying the 3 avenues, the yellow rice turned into 9 colors. However, a sense of emptiness entered Su Junming's heart from a dream of Huangliang. If you want to carry the 3 supreme avenues, the current yellow rice foundation is insufficient. 365 grains of yellow rice must be turned into 365 top-quality magic tools before they can be considered top-quality magic tools. From now on, every time Yimeng Huangliang advances, there will be 365 synchronizations. 365 spiritual weapons. 365 magic weapons. 365 spiritual treasures. Su Junming smiled bitterly in his heart. I'm just looking for trouble for myself. A headache is a headache, and if he was asked to give up, he wouldn't. The more resources a baby needs, the greater its potential in the future. If Yimeng Huangliang is made up of 365 treasures of the same grade, its future power will not be as simple as 1 + 1. The stacked defense power of the 365 ghost gates, even if it is only a top-grade magic weapon, even the peak of the 12-level golden elixir cannot penetrate it. Of course, Su Junming didn't know how long it would take him to gather the resources needed to cultivate 365 top-quality magical weapons. Oh, it's good now. My Yimeng Huangliang has become a middle-grade magic weapon again. Shaking his head, he temporarily left the worries of happiness behind. Su Junming tried to entrust the remaining 9 gates to the Tianluo umbrella, the Yin-Yang Das Ho, and the Guandi statue, but none of them succeeded. He tried again with the purple sun lamp, the demon-conquering golden lock, and the green wood staff, but the result was still the same. Su Junming couldn't understand this. Why can only Yimeng Huangliang work and not others? Is it because of the Hushan talisman? Although he was guessing this, he didn't know whether it was true or not. The way of space has been pinned on Yimeng Huangliang, and it is impossible to take care of other things. Let's do this for now. We've succeeded after all, haven't we? You are listening to Novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. Please subscribe to receive new novels. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. Become a disciple of Taoist priest 4 Eyes. Author, Dong Ren. Chapter 200. Chapter 198, The Tomb. Dong Dong. There was a knock on the door. Taoist priest, I am Xiaqui. I would like to invite you to come down for dinner. Reply your master for me. I am a Taoist Qi practitioner. I have been fasting for a long time. There is no need to prepare meals for me. Yes. The footsteps gradually faded away. After playing with the yellow rice for a while, Su Junming took out a porcelain bottle from the magic bag, unlocked the sealing talisman, and a wisp of black mist emerged. This was the death energy he extracted from their bodies when he used to sacrifice to protect the generals and exorcise their corpses. With a wave of his sword finger, the gurgling death energy flew into a dream of yellow beams. Soon I saw that the Huangquan river in it had grown a bit. There is still no movement in Yimen Huangliang. Su Junming sighed in his heart. With more than 1,000 people gathered, the death energy on the 9 zombies only made Huangquan River grow a little, while Yimen Huangliang basically didn't move at all. I still don't believe it. He took out a jade box from the magic bag, unlocked the seal, and a demon pill emerged from it. The demon soul of the cold flame bug mother was faintly visible in the demon pill. Sensing Su Junming's consciousness, the demon soul of the insect mother struggled and screamed in it, looking at him with red eyes, as if she was choosing someone to devour. You're already dead, and you're still so arrogant. After removing the seal on it and throwing it away, the demonic soul of the cold flame bug mother ran out instantly. Before she could enjoy the joy of being out of trouble. 365 grains of yellow rice swarmed in, passing through her body one by one. Every time a grain of yellow rice passes through, the demonic soul of the cold flame bug mother becomes lighter, and the light of the demonic elixir also decreases. In the blink of an eye, the insect mother demon soul and demon pill were divided into 365 equal parts. The 9-color brilliance flashed, and the insect mother's demon soul and demon pill were gradually refined. The 5th circle of light floated from the 365 grains of yellow rice. Seeing this, Su Junming felt slightly relieved. The top-quality magic weapon that has completed the 12 treasure prohibitions, and the Yimeng Huangliang that was almost rolled to the end has finally recovered a little. However, after a 4th-level demon pill was poured down, a treasure ban was created. Want to upgrade to a spiritual weapon? Su Junming smiled bitterly and shook his head. It was probably the year of the monkey. Fortunately, although the grade of Yimen Huangliang has declined, its power has increased, so overall it is a good thing. Putting away Yimen Huangliang, Su Junming took out a brown talisman paper from the bag. This was tempered by him using the essence of the cold flame bug corpse. Supplemented by the ink refined from the essence and blood of the mother of the cold flame bug, the two combined together become a spiritual talisman of the highest quality. Su Junming drew talismans and practiced Taoism. Time passed slowly and the night gradually enveloped the window. The 3 towns of Jiangan, which had been busy all day, gradually became quiet. However, the dark and windy night is the time when ghosts and monsters are active. Aha! Su Junming and Lu Pan opened their eyes at the same time. 4 rays of cold electricity flashed across, and the room instantly became a little brighter. The call of the little blue bird. Walk. Su Junming pulled the Dharma Protector General, Hu Tianshen performed the magic, and his figure disappeared instantly. When they reached the roof, a blue lightning flashed in the night sky. After closing the distance, It flapped its wings and landed firmly on Su Junming's shoulder. She rubbed his cheek affectionately. Call out. The crisp chirping of birds rang out. You said you found a ghost. Whoosh. Here you go. I patted the little bluebird on the head and fed it a piece of huanjidan. After eating happily. Lead the way. The little bluebird nodded its head, flapped its wings and flew towards the southeast. Su Junming, accompanied by the Dharma Protector General, quickly followed. Now, unlike before, there is Lu Pan, who is equivalent to the third level of the Golden Core and has invincible power. As long as he does not encounter evil cultivators in the middle or late stages of the Golden Core, there is no need to be afraid. But the monks in the middle and late stages of the Golden Core are all the pillars of a big force. They will not be easily dispatched, so they are not so easy to encounter. And even if you encounter him and you can't beat him, you can still escape with the help of Hu Tianqian's magic. Nowadays, there is the Bridge of the Void of Yimen Huangliang, which can reach thousands of meters in an instant, which is beyond the reach of the monks in the middle stage of Golden Core. Therefore, the world is as big as it can be. And since the Wu family incident, he has become more and more understanding. If you want to cultivate your immortality well, you need windfall nightgrass. Where do windfalls and nightgrass come from? Of course it comes from evil cultivators. You can get resources and earn merit, killing two birds with one stone, why not? Now that there is another big consumer of resources, Yimen Huangliang, Su Junming's desire to slay demons becomes even more urgent. That's why he asked Little Blue Bird, a sky scout, to help him keep an eye on the traces of demons and ghosts in the three towns of Jiangan. The Little Blue Bird lived up to expectations and soon brought good news. But this time Su Junming was quite disappointed. The ghost is indeed a ghost, but it is just a water ghost that has just become a person. He mobilized his troops and ran over, which felt like killing a chicken with a knife. After thinking about it, he took out the golden lock and handed it to the Little Blue Bird. This golden lock will be used by you from now on. As long as you think you can deal with the ghosts, you can tie them up and give them to me. If you can't deal with them, let me know. Whoosh. The Little Blue Bird nodded obediently, then opened its beak excitedly, and with a suction force, the demon-conquering golden lock flew in. Like Mao Meow Meow, it has the habit of hiding magic weapons in its belly. I guess demon cultivators all have this habit. Let's go back and rest. Call out. The Little Bluebird flapped its wings repeatedly, and its cry was urgent. Obviously, this little guy got the magic weapon for the first time, and he couldn't wait to test its power. This feeling is like a child who just got new clothes and always wants to try them on. Go on, don't run around. The Little Bluebird nodded, flapped its wings, soared into the sky, and quickly disappeared into the night. After taking a look, Su Junming returned to Zi's house. In the following 3 days, the demons in the 3 towns of Jiangan suffered disaster. The excited Little Bluebird held the 12-level treasure forbidden golden lock for subduing demons, and with Su Junming's support behind him, the newborn calf, not afraid of tigers, managed to conquer the demons within a radius of 150 meters. Within 10 miles, the entire area was plowed. There are many decent people among them who want to arrest them because their business has been robbed by it. However, unless you also have the best magic weapon in your hand, you will basically be beaten by the Little Blue Bird. Suddenly, the evil atmosphere in the 3 towns of Jiangan was cleared. Except for the demons and ghosts that are deeply hidden and have high cultivation levels, all ordinary ghosts and demons have been basically captured. Dozens of fierce ghosts and monsters also allowed Su Junming to accumulate a lot of training and weapon refining materials in his magic bag. Don't go out today. Stop the Little Bluebird. Whoa whoosh. The little guy looked at him doubtfully. Let's rest for a while and talk about it later. If you walk too much at night, you will eventually encounter ghosts. Although the Little Bluebird is born extraordinary, After all, it is only half a year old and its strength is still weak. He could easily deal with ordinary demons and ghosts, but when he encountered powerful ones, he was afraid that he would not be able to save them in time. Call out. The little blue bird nodded, stood on Su Junming's shoulder, and did not go out again. Dong Dong, Taoist priest. Come in. Zi Ching, dressed in a green robe, opened the door and walked in. Taoist master. Give him a bow. Su Junming slapped his head. The layman is well. After greeting each other, they sat down. Zi Ching glanced back and forth at the little blue bird. This bird is so beautiful, just like the legendary phoenix. Zi Ching thought. Jushi Zi, do you have any business coming to Sipandeo? Su Junming asked proactively. I want to build a tomb for my sister and ask the Taoist priest to help me choose an auspicious day. This is simple. Use Yigua to make a simple calculation. The day after tomorrow is an auspicious day in the zodiac. Master Zi can prepare a tomb for your sister. Then Pandeo will personally recite sutras for her salvation. Hurry up and send this ant to reincarnation, so that you can earn merit. Thank you very much, Master Taoist. A layman does not need to say thank you for things that are within the scope of a poor Taoist. Then I'll say goodbye. Lord, walk slowly. 2 days passed quickly. When the auspicious day of the zodiac mentioned by Su Junming arrived, Zi Ching changed into a white robe, and behind him followed a beautiful woman in a white dress and 2 children. The servant Xiaosanzi held a shovel in his left hand and incense candles and paper money in his right hand. Zi Ching carried a bulging baggage in his hand. The maid Xiaqui and the beautiful woman each took a child. A piece of yellow rice flew out of Zi Ching's sleeve, and a crisp sound came out. Thank you, Taoist priest. Su Junming raised his palm in return. Everyone, if you are ready, let's set off, shall we? Taoist master, please. Su Junming nodded and stepped out. It was early in the morning and there were not many people on the street. The women and children boarded the carriage prepared in advance. The group of people headed straight out of the city. As a descendant of the Zi family, Zi Tong naturally had to be buried in the Zi family's ancestral grave. Next to the tomb of the other party's parents, Zi Ching asked his mistress to dig a grave that was 1 foot 3 inches long and 7 inches wide. Take out the wooden box that was placed on the carriage in advance and put it in. Zi Ching opened the bag, and inside there were a pair of embroidered shoes, 2 pairs of stockings, and 2 long dresses, 1 red and 1 white. Judging from the size and condition, it was obvious that they were all clothes Zi Tong had worn during his lifetime. Fasten the lid, place the stone slab, and cover with soil. It didn't take long before a tomb was erected. The mistress struggled to move a stone tablet from the carriage. Su Junming saw that he was stumbling and inconvenient, so he directly moved it with magic power and placed it in front of the grave. The tomb of Xianmei Zitong. The suffix is a line of small characters. Brother Zi Ching and sister-in-law Yu Yinghong burst into tears. He took 3 pieces of yellow paper and pressed them with clods of soil on the grave. After the tributes were placed, the entire Zi family knelt down. There was a lot of crying from adults and children. Su Junming looked solemn and recited the Sutra of the Supreme Being to save people. After the Zi family members stopped crying, the tomb was erected. From now on the 1st and 15th day of the lunar month, you can just come to the grave to offer sacrifices. Zitong was among the yellow rice, looking at his tomb and thinking about the past. He felt sad in his heart. But unfortunately, the ghost tears that Su Junming expected were not shed. Become a disciple of Taoist priest Four Eyes. Author, Dong Ren. Chapter 201. Chapter 199. 3 Souls and 7 Souls. After finishing the tomb for Zi Tong, Zi Ching and his family rushed back. As soon as they entered Vuchang, they were stopped. To be precise, Su Junming was stopped by someone. Taoist master, please stay. A young man wearing a green cloth shirt and dressed as a boy ran over with a happy face. Taoist priest, please stay. Seeing him running out of breath and sweat on his forehead, Su Junming stopped. Is there something wrong with a layman looking for a poor Taoist? After bowing to him and saluting, the boy said quickly. To report to the Taoist priest, I am a servant of Qian's mansion in Baikan. Our master has ordered me to search for traces of the Taoist priest in Wuchang city. Once we find him, we must invite him to our house as a guest. Baikan Qian mansion. Su Junming frowned. He couldn't remember anyone named Qian he knew. But Master Qian Wan Chun from the north of the city. Zi Ching asked while sitting on the carriage. Exactly. The boy nodded quickly, a look of amusement unconsciously showing on his face. Does Master Zi know this person? Zi Ching nodded. Qian Wan Chun is a well-known figure in the city. He has a wealthy family. He is devoted to charity and has many meritorious deeds. He has close relationships with many important officials in the new government. There was a trace of respect on Zi Ching's face. Su Jun clearly understood that Qian Wan Chun was indeed a luxurious person. What does your master want from me? Young people don't know. My master only told you that you must find the Taoist priest, and he told you specifically without any neglect. From what he said, Qian Wan Chun seemed to have a certain understanding of him. Taoist priest, you guys have been looking for Taoist priest in Wuchang city for 3 days without sleep. I ask Taoist priest to be merciful and take pity on my hard time waiting. Please go back with me. Taoist priest, this master of the Qian family is always kind to people and has a good reputation in Wuchang. If you have time, why not go and have a look, Zi Ching said. The boy looked at him gratefully. Su Junming pondered for a moment and nodded. If Qian Wan Chun is really a man of merit, helping him himself would also be a meritorious deed. Then I'll go take a look. I asked the mistress to leave the door open for the Taoist priest, Zi Ching said. No need, I have my own way to go back. Thinking of Su Junming's magical power, Zi Ching didn't say much. Let's go. Thank you, Taoist master. Thank you, Taoist master. Please, Taoist master, come with me. After bidding farewell to the Zi family, Su Junming came to the north of the city under the guidance of the Qian family servant. Qian Wan Chun, who got the news in advance, opened the middle door with his housekeeper and servants early and waited outside. I saw Su Junming, who was tall and holding a wooden staff, striding over. He looked overjoyed and hurried forward to greet him. I hope for the stars and the moon, and finally the Taoist master is here. After repeatedly giving up, Qian Wan Chun pays homage to the Taoist priest. It is truly a blessing to meet the Taoist priest today. The joy on this man's face and the politeness in his words didn't seem to be fake. Su Junming used a bronze mirror to take a look, and sure enough, this man had a strong aura of merit and virtue. However, the blue and black aura on the left forehead was shrouded, indicating that the house had been uneasy these past few days. If dark lines appear on the child's palace on the face, the children and grandchildren in the family will suffer disaster. After knowing what he was doing, he stood up with one palm. Master Qian has given me the award, and Mission Taoist Su Junming has paid my respects. After returning the gift, the layman's tone sounds like he knows a poor Taoist. I wonder if Chang still remembers that he performed a stunt 3 days ago at the pier and withstood the falling crane. Su Junming suddenly realized that when he first came to Wuchang that day, he happened to encounter this incident and took action to prevent a tragedy. At that time, there were many people on the pier, so it was natural to see a lot. I just didn't expect that Qian Wan Chun was one of them. I see. Qian was at the dock that day. If the Taoist priest hadn't been a powerful Taoist priest and came to his aid, Qian would have died on the spot. With that said, Qian Wan Chun bowed deeply. Master Qian, please get up. With a wave of his sleeves, Jian Chun was lifted up by a secret force. Taoists cannot measure people. In the face of disaster, poor Taoists will naturally not sit idly by. The Taoist master is indeed worthy of being ranked high in mission. He is compassionate and compassionate. Jian admires him. Jian Chun turned sideways. I hope the Taoist priest will go and sit in the mansion so that Mr. Jian can thank him in person for saving his life. Su Junming nodded after thinking briefly. The Jian family is indeed a famous family in the three towns of Jianghan. Although the house is not as good as the Wu family, in Wuchang City, where every inch of land is precious, a large courtyard with 3 entrances and 3 exits, covering an area of nearly 5,000 square meters, is itself represents extraordinary status and strength. After sitting down in the front parlor, 2 young maids came forward to serve tea and desserts. Some tea, Taoist priest, please use it. After Su Junming nodded, he picked it up and took a sip. Master Qian has been looking for me for 3 days. I'm afraid it's not just as simple as thanking me for saving my life, right? Nothing can be hidden from the Taoist master. Pop. Jian Chun clapped his hands, and the old housekeeper who had just left walked in with 2 boys. Master, I have brought everything. Show it to the Taoist priest. Yes. The old butler waved his hand, and the 2 boys brought the box to Su Junming and opened it. There is an old ginseng in a box. Judging from its shape, it is probably no more than 300 years old. If placed in the spiritual world, it would be a top-grade elixir. In another box were 10 gold leaves, each worth 20 taels, for a total of 20 taels of gold. This 300-year-old wild ginseng was collected from outside the customs at a cost of 50 taels of gold. I sent it to the Taoist master along with the gold to thank the Taoist master for his life-saving grace 3 days ago. In addition, Qian has something to ask the Taoist master for help. Jian Chun was sincere and generous. But what about your son? Does the Taoist priest know? Jian Chun said in surprise. Looking at your face, there are dark lines between the eyebrows, which means disasters are coming. But you have just passed through the great catastrophe of life and death, which means you will be lucky in the event of death, so you will be able to survive. This disaster cannot happen to you, so it must be a disaster for your family. In addition, there are 5 moles in your uterus, 3 on the left and 2 on the right, which means you have 3 sons and 2 daughters. Among them, the 3rd mole on the left side of the uterus is light in color, which must mean that the 3rd son is ill. Jian Chun looked excited. The Taoist's divine calculation is accurate to every word. Jian Chun stood up and bowed to the end. I hope the Taoist master will use his magical power to save my 3 sons again. Jian Chun is willing to spend all his family wealth to thank the Taoist master for his kindness. Take me to see people first before we talk. Su Junming stood up and said. This Jian Chun is endowed with merit and good manners. If it's within his ability, he won't hesitate to help. Taoist master, please. Jian Chun was in front and took him into the back house. Soon, the 2 came to a single-family courtyard. Su Junming paused in his steps, and his senses scattered outside instantly sensed something strange. The bronze mirror in Danshan moved, and the scene in front of him changed. A wisp of grayish-white breath emanated from the attic in the courtyard. Evil spirit. Taoist priest, is there something wrong? Nothing, let's go. The 2 continued forward, passing through a bamboo forest, bypassing the flower garden in front, and entered the main building. Climb the stairs, enter the 2nd floor, retreat to the 1st room on the left, and step in. A middle-aged woman in gorgeous clothes turned her head and looked over when she heard the noise coming from behind her. Master. How about Zhi? When Jian Chun asked, the woman's face became even more sad. The breath is weaker than yesterday. Master, do you have to find a way to save Zhi? Mother and son were heart to heart and began to cry as they spoke. Okay, don't cry. I've invited the Taoist priest, please get out of the way first. The woman looked at the young Taoist priest who was a few years older than her son as he walked in with a hint of suspicion in his eyes. But now, as long as there is a glimmer of hope to save her son, she will not hesitate. With the help of the maid, he stood up and made way for Su Junming. Glancing at the room covered with talismans, I could tell by their aura that they were all pure Taoist talismans. Where do these talismans come from? Is there anything wrong with Taoist Master Chen from Xianyang Temple in the west of the city? Qianwan Chun asked carefully. Fine. These talismans are all demon-killing talismans and spirit-suppressing talismans widely circulated in the cultivation world. Although they are real things, they are difficult to play any role here. Walking to the bed, there was a handsome young man in his early 20s lying flat on the brocade quilt. But at this moment, he was unconscious, his breath was weak, and he was extremely thin. What a mellow evil spirit! Su Junming was shocked when he saw the grey color between his brows and the aura that almost penetrated his bones. The bronze mirror in the dantian flashed, and his eyes penetrated the demonic aura and looked towards Niwen Palace. A two-tailed demon fox is entrenched among them. Next to the demon fox, a young man stood blankly. The image of the man is illusory, as if he will disappear in the next moment. However, whenever the man's body moves erratically, there is always a golden merit energy that anchors his soul. But the merit energy is not strong, and every time it is concentrated, it will be weakened by 1 point. It looked like he couldn't hold on for long. Only the soul of life is in the body, and the 7 souls are gone. No wonder he is unconscious, Su Junming thought to himself. As we all know, humans have 3 souls and 7 souls. The 3 souls are the heavenly soul, the earth soul and the human soul, also known as fetal light, Shuangling, and ghost essence. The 7 souls are Tianchang, Linghui, Qi, Li, Center, Jing, and Ying. They are also called corpse dog, Fuya, bird yin, silkworm thief, non-poison, cleansing dirty and smelly lung. Each governs the spirit, qi, heart, stomach, kidneys, intestines, gallbladder, liver, and lungs. Generally speaking, the soul of heaven belongs to the way of heaven, so the calculation method can calculate the misfortunes and blessings in life. The soul of the earth returns to the underworld, so there is a saying that the king of hell will let you die at the 3rd watch, but no one will keep you until the 5th watch. The human soul and the 7 souls return to themselves. After the death of ordinary people, the 7 souls decay with the physical body and return to heaven and earth. Only the human soul is left to reincarnate in the underworld. The so-called ghosts are those transformed by human souls absorbing yin energy and resentment. Now this young man only has a human soul left in his body, all 7 souls are gone, and most of his life is gone. Taoist Master, how are you? Qianwan Chun came over and said carefully. Your son only has half a life left now. Qianwan Chun's face turned anxious. I hope the Taoist priest can save my son's life. The woman next to him also bowed and saluted. Whether or not your son's life can be saved depends not on the poor man, but on the demon provoked by your son. The fox who took away the 7 souls of this man had pure demonic energy and no resentment. He was obviously not an evil demon. In this case, trying to waste one's merits and kill a person with merits would never be like this if it were not a life and death feud. Why did the Taoist master say this? Isn't the Taoist master a match for that evildoer? Qianwan Chun said quickly. Su Junming shook his head and didn't say much. We'll discuss the details later in the evening. Now I'll save your son's life and soul first. After saying that, Su Junming aimed his palm at the man's forehead and used his magic power to form a Tai Chi pattern in the void.